Let's do that. Let's see what's going on in the interview with Alex. I believe it's Alex, right?
Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikon here, coming at you with another episode of the Kast. Today we're going to be talking about Wayfinder, and I invited Sir Snarf to come over and tell us
okay, they
all
pronounced
about
Snarf.
the game.
I thought that how
I
it was
believe that
pronounced.
your real name is Alex Campbell.
Okay,
right?
I was right. I thought it was Alex.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible with names.
Sir Snarf
Hi,
has
Alex.
taken over my identity, so
okay.
my previous life I was known as Alex Campbell, but yes, now it's Sir Snarf on the internet.
So,
Hi, Ironbreakers.
Introduce
I'm
yourself.
so happy that my little C actually got named right.
Yeah, no, and
with
first and
golf.
foremost, thanks for reaching out and actually listening to what we said on the stream showcase for early access and reaching out via Discord. But I am the community manager at Airship Syndicate, so humble little game studio here in Austin, Texas. But we are working.
I thought
on
that also
cool
they was
game.
in
Some of you
Texas
might
because I
have
played
seen
the
it
Central
during,
Time Zone.
the last couple of weeks, but we're about to come into early access for Wayfinder, and this is
15th chat,
our most ambitious
5
take
days
on
from
kind of
now.
like that open world multiplayer experience. So it's a third-person action,
Can't wait, chat.
based RPG, but you'll be able to play it with kind of seamless world. So everybody in the world will be in one giant mega server, and so I'm running all the community.
There we
aspects
go.
of this, so,
By the way, chat, they'll answer that question. I think it was Z White that was asking about Soulbolt. I thought it was a mega Soulbolt. It's good to have that verified. So, there you go, chat. We're not going to have to worry about if Z and me can find each other. Look at the rest of you. I know how the rest of you are.
How,
I'm going to
how
drag you
long have
guys
you
in
been
with
at
me, though.
Airship
It's going to
Syndicate?
happen,
Just out
chat.
of curiosity, have you been since kind of like the beginning stages of the project? No? Okay.
No, so this is actually first foray into the video game world, which was
Oh,
actually
nice.
pretty surprising that Airship was willing to take a little bit of a chance on me getting into a video game, especially for community aspect being such an
welcome
important
to being
part
a community
of a game
manager.
like this. But I have some experience in games. I was actually working at a pinball manufacturer prior to this, of all things. And I own my own board game company. We did a Kickstarter board game, so I do that on the side as well.
Oh.
So I have a bunch of different efforts.
Which board game?
Would that be something that we have heard about in this board game of yours? Just out of curiosity.
Maybe some. I doubt it. We had 8 pallets of the suckers show up back in February, and we had to ship about 300 or so of them around the world. So our entire house has turned into a board game production facility.
That's how it happened,
but
chat.
no, it's a very small kind of indie game along the lines of like Magic the Gathering that we did.
Okay.
But the team at Airship, Ryan, and all of them had done a Kickstarter with Battle Chasers. And so they knew some of the trials and tribulations I had gone through there. So I think I got some bonus cred points on that front.
Battle Chaser ended up being great, so
I'm pretty direct to the point. I've been a gamer since like the Wii days. You know, some of my favorites were RTS genres from back to like StarCraft 1, Command and Conquer, Red Alert, going through Tiberian Sun, everything there, and then I was a beta tester.
and
WoW.
you Alex. We can rant about them games. Man,
the first,
out of all the
Guild
PC
Wars,
game back in the
second
day,
Guild
them were
Wars
the main ones I played at. Well,
got better.
That's actually a lot of like
so.
multiplayer experience. See that's why your resume is so good. You have a lot of multiplayer experience there.
I played a lot of like that.
No time for Dark Fowls, but 2 hours for Wayfinder C1.
we was in PSO for about 4 hours. It's fine. Oh God, in 4 hours. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Also,
Played a
Diana,
lot of games, and I know kind of what.
Don't talk the 4 hour meme
I
chat.
feel like especially when it comes to like a free to play game,
Yeah.
a lot of what people's reservations are going to be, and I think I could speak to that pretty well. So I think that's what really expected. Hopefully, made me stand out a little bit. But anyway, they took a chance. So it's been about 9 months, 8-9 months, I would say at this point. So it's getting on there. But,
So pretty much the beginning
they
of the
did
year
bring
then.
me on as a community manager role before we could really even go public, which was interesting. So I mean, they're really invested.
Yeah, because
they noticed
when
how
I got
important
invited to play
having that
Wayfinder, it
kind of
was
communication with the public was
February,
important,
March,
just because they
something
very
like
much
that,
a
March,
polished
April,
studio. Like they wanted to put out
somewhere
content
around there.
that was, really ready before it was a live service model. With it's kind of like an adjustment to what the normal model would be for them. So I mean, they've worked on most recently Ruin King, a League of Legends story, which was pretty well regarded, but very much a polished, finished game before.
I do
it
need to
was
play
put
that
out
at
into
some
the world,
point.
One of the-
along with Darksiders.
That's the only airship game
One
I
of the,
haven't
like,
played.
The most impressive things about Airship Syndicate to me is always that art style. Like, I love the art style of those games. I can't get enough of it. Like, you guys were showing the housing system and all that, and we're gonna get into that in this episode. But like, it's just watching that. It's such a cozy art style where like I just want to chill in this world for a while, right? It's really cool. But
Yeah. And
Don't you love the art,
people who
CM?
don't know, just to kind of put it out there. So Joe Madden is our CEO, and he's actually the one that kind of just signs up on. This is kind of his brainchild ultimately when you get down to it. But if you go back, I mean, I think he started becoming like a famous comic book artist at, when he was a teenager, and so Battle Chasers like was his first foray into comic books, and then he was picked up by Marvel, and he made a lot of things there. So I mean, it's a hot topic. I don't want to say definitively one way or another, but there's a lot of people who make the argument that he was making that kind of stylized art style before WoW was doing it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Kind of picked up on.
Yeah, Battle Chaser was what,
Yeah, 'cause
93, 94?
Yeah.
there's
so-
a lot of them that kind of like
Maybe
do it
Olio?
nowadays. Yeah. So let's start with the basics.
Well, I remember
So,
Battle
you
Chaser when
already
I was
gave it, like, a brief description of
tiny,
Wayfinder, but
like,
let's really
by-
jump
in
into it, 'cause
passing.
I feel like people have seen some gameplay of some boss fights and stuff like that. That is on your channel, some class stuff. You guys talked about Founders Pack, but at its core essence, what is Wayfinder?
So
PSO.
I already kind of gave the elevator pitch.
It's PSO.
At its core, and I just want to jump right in front of this right now. It's not going to come out as an MMO. Like, we've never labeled it as an MMO. We have the aspirations of getting it to
I'm pretty sure the
stage of an MMO,
the
but don't go into the game.
I'm pretty sure the CEO did call it MMO at
WoW
PAX.
killer or
Yeah.
MMO. That's not the case, and we don't.
Yeah, it's not going to be a WoW kill
We
now.
don't want people.
We don't need to go back to the mid 2000 WoW kill feature.
Third-person RPG action combat, so you're going to have those Dark Souls elements to it. So that very snappy, in the moment combat that you're having to read movesets and you're going to have to react to them and dodge them and actually care about where the hitboxes is and that sort of thing. That is one aspect of the game. You do have the fantasy world where you are going to be going into more open world areas that you're going to have. It is instance based, so you're going to go into the more open world areas that you can have 30, 40 people. We don't have the final number yet.
I imagine it's probably going to be like the same at PSO, probably like 32 probably.
Together, but you can work together to take down a world boss or a giant event or something like that. You're going to find secrets, you're going to find lore bits, you're going to do all that. There's actually like 90% of the quests are probably in side quests, so there's a ton of side quest content that you're going to be doing along.
Which, by the way,
the
chat,
main story quests where you're going to have to go out.
the
to these
interview
big
was
open world
posted
areas,
one day
find the
ago, by the
smaller
way.
dungeons. Once you find the smaller dungeons, then that's when you're going to break out to the lost zones and do those kind of repeatable. I mean, Remnant 2, I know you've been playing that recently.
Yeah.
Very similar aspect there where you have, those like little side, events, quests, whatever you want to call them, like little triangles.
Those
things.
little side dungeons, yeah.
Yeah, so like that's probably the meat and potatoes of what the game is going to be once you get to that maximum level. Is really running those.
Which I
side quests
believe the
because
level
it is-
cap at 30,
don't
I
wanna say
believe.
there is a difference between procedural based and random.
I
but
feel
we
like
do
that's what
more
they
on the
said
random
at one
sides of how
point.
those dungeons are created, but there's again handcrafted tiles where our level design team has done a fantastic
Oh,
job. And
I wasn't even aware that the dungeons
this
were
together,
going
but-
to be like procedurally or random generated.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's-
that position in
You have a
PSO2
lot
and how
into that,
they
so
are made.
I definitely want to, but that was one of the questions that I also had, which is like if it was going to be full on MMO or not. You already instantly answered it because it does. I do get confused a little bit. So how do you play this?
I
you
believe
jump
the
in and there's,
CEO
like,
did
people
say it
everywhere.
like a few
So
times,
it's
but
kind of like if you were to describe it like very vaguely, it's kind
I
of
would
like
say
Destiny,
I would say like
is what
more
I'm
like
getting,
present
right?
day
It's
MMO
kind
at
of like
most.
that
I'd say,
MMO light
yeah.
type
Like how-
of situation.
How
Yeah,
PSO
that's
is being the
definitely gonna
instance.
be, at least in the beginning stages.
Yeah.
We have some pretty ambitious goals of like what we have planned out and where we want to get to. Obviously,
I'd be interested to know if it will
survive,
cap at like
for some
30,
years to
32
get
or
there,
not.
Which is always, we hope, we pray. The feedback we've gotten during the private tests and DA tests and all that stuff has been really positive, but nobody can talk about it. So
Yeah, of
it's
course.
kind of the running joke
Yeah.
in the community. But
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be that jump.
I would love to
into,
talk about the
you know,
stuff that
Azeroth
haven't been
right off
showed, you know,
right off the bat, and
and
huge
you know,
cosmos to explore and those
like
things.
MMO
It's
Byte video and a
seamless.
couple
There
others.
is going to be, you know, loading screens between the open world.
You just
areas,
wait
between
until I can
the
talk,
zones.
chat.
And part of that is just
Beyond what have
acknowledgement
always
that
been
you want
shown
action
on like
combat to
YouTube
feel
stuff
as
by
responsive.
other,
It's not
you know,
tap
content
targeting.
creator
You want it to
or
be like,
or
okay,
them
this is-
directly.
I have full control over this character, and
Yeah.
you know, there's 4 abilities. You don't get like an entire screen's worth of abilities that you can just like run through all of those. But every single action that you're doing, like how you move your character, how you use those dodges, how you use your heavy attack, your light attack, your air jump attack, your air jast jump attack, your double jump, ground slam attack, like all of those combinations really adds the depth of just like the moment to moment
Yeah.
combat.
Yeah,
There's
more
So-
combat
the tap targeting.
ability
It's kind of
focus
like
over
bring it all together.
straight
Say you
abilities.
have a group of friends because this is going to have co-op, obviously. You have
But can we be bald and bearded?
and play. And
Talk to me
it's
on
like basic
Tuesday.
experience, Like you meet together
I think
in a
it's
town,
Tuesday.
y'all form a party.
Talk to me on the
and then you
15th,
exit
CM.
out and you're all in the same instance, guaranteed. That's kind of how it works.
Yeah. So Skylight is the main hub that you're going to come right out of the tutorial. You'll choose your Wayfinder. By the way, everybody who's going to play, make sure that you, when you make that, you finish that tutorial decision, that you do stick with who you're going to go. Because that's it. You're good. We give you the opportunity to go back, do the tutorial, learn the lore of all the 3 different characters that you start with. But once you choose, you choose. Then you have to actually.
Oh, okay.
grind
That
through
is
the
interesting. So
Grind
we-
and unlock
So-
that, yeah.
That is interesting. So we all sticking with the 3? Because I originally thought we were gonna have the 6, and then venomess be the net quack to unlock. So, okay. That, I guess we will see how I feel. Obviously, I'm fine on my end because of, like, you know, I know who my main is. But, man, okay. That is one of them, like, that little bit of a letdown a little bit, though, that only the 3 and then everybody else is the optional that you gotta farm for.
Yeah, the ones, yeah.
Fair warning to anybody who who makes that selection. So make sure you read before you press
Team
yes,
Silo for life,
scan
chat.
through stuff. But yeah, so once you go in there, you come out of the tutorial.
He
get
have-
a little
he
bit
have
of
a gun, he
backstory,
play
set the
like
stage of,
Wangel.
like, what's going on in the world.
So,
Pop into Skylight. Skylight is like the last bastion.
You know how I feel about
Wayne
Wayne skeletons.
of Evanor. That's where you'll have, again, it's gonna feel like that, you know, traditional MMO experience. Like you're popping into Stormwind, you're popping into Orgrimmar, whatever it might be. There's gonna be people everywhere. Especially in the beginning, it's going to be a lot of Spider-Man
Yep.
pointing because everybody's going to look exactly the same. Nobody's going to have different cosmetic
Yeah.
sets to you know, be putting onto it. We explain that in the lore. We can dive into that if you want to, but essentially everybody's going to be.
Seems like we got a decent amount coming from the tower
If you are
top.
on different systems, you'll see people on PlayStation. You'll see people on PC. Once it's free to play, it'll be more platforms. Everybody will have like
Yep.
a little emblem of what platform they're playing on.
So
I mean,
But you'll
at
be
the
able to-
beginning,
oh, that's good to know.
At the beginning in August,
I'm gonna be interested to see how many
15th,
people gonna be on
that are not
Xbox
aware,
and stuff when it
August
come
15th is
out
when,
at the end of the year
early
or
access
beginning of next.
begins.
I mean,
In the beginning, you're just doing PC and PlayStation. PlayStation 4 as well?
Yes, PlayStation
Okay.
4, PlayStation 5, and Steam for PC.
Steam. Okay. And basically, those will be full crossplay as well as cross progression.
Yep.
Okay.
So
but the
if
co-op
you do-
progression is what I'm excited
One
for.
caveat, which is annoying, wish it wasn't the case, but it just is, to get access to the title.
Because I'm gonna start on
whatever platform,
PlayStation
you
and
need to
hopefully down the line
so-
move to
yeah,
PC.
to gain access, which is par for the course for what has to happen. But once it goes free to play, that'll be dropped. So like you won't have to buy anything for both
So
platforms to get
to-
access, but
To
you
explain
will
that,
need to purchase it. Yeah.
yeah, to just explain that to people real quick, what it means is during this first 6 months, I believe is the case, right? 6 months?
Yep.
Yeah,
So
during
that's-
the first 6 months after August 15th, if you want to play both on Steam and on PlayStation, you need to buy it on both. But if you buy it on PC and you wait 6 months, then 6 months down the line, you can just play the character that you've been leveling on PC for free on PlayStation with everything that you've collected and all of that jazz, right?
Yep. And then everything.
See him, he said the
as well.
thing, see him.
The one other caveat too, I don't think it really matters, but
You can't be angry anymore,
No.
see him.
like there is an in-game currency, so the rune silver. If you purchase rune silver on a certain platform, it has to
Yeah.
stay on that platform. So
That,
if you purchase it on
yeah.
PlayStation,
That's just the
lives on your
downside of
PlayStation
how
account
console
technically.
is.
So if you log into Steam, you're not going to have that number there, but if you buy something on PlayStation, anything that you bought will be transferable to all of your accounts.
This is for people
And
that don't know. This is like exactly
that
the way it works.
jazz.
Pretty much every free-to-play game. It's not like
Exactly.
you can just buy whatever game currency on PSN and then I have that currency on Steam now. It just doesn't work. The stores, they want their cut. It's just the way that it goes.
Yeah.
So that there's not a whole lot that you guys can
Isn't
really
that
do
how
about that. I wasn't
PSO
aware
is
of this.
now?
So I wanted to also we talked about PlayStation PC and then
Maybe?
you say more consoles.
I don't
there
remember
down
if
the
that's the
line,
case with
6 months from
PSO or
now, but
not.
You guys aren't talking about what those are.
I'd
I mean,
say
it's
scroll
pretty
to the
obvious,
bottom
but
it is pretty obvious.
but you're not
Which
talking
is great.
specifics.
Yeah.
Scroll to the bottom of our website, and you'll get a good sense of the stuff that's to come. So that's all I can say.
F up
Yeah,
whale chat.
That's what I expect. So real quick, so we talked about these different Wayfinders and stuff, and one of the questions that I have to bring up is naturally the Holy Trinity. Is it going to be
Yep.
Holy Trinity style, or what are we doing? Because it doesn't feel like that's the case, right?
No, and that's
Yeah,
that's
it
part of one of the core
yeah.
separations, I'd say, from most kind of.
I feel
RPG
like
games where you have the class
maybe
and then you
useful to
really fit
be,
within that
but not
community and
required.
like, make a new character to get that difference, which I guess
The
that
vibe I have
is true a
always
little
got.
bit. But the sense that every single
Especially-
character, every single
Especially like reading over like all the building and stuff. By the way, check out today's video chat. Today's video, it's all about Cylon or Silo. I mean, and also we did one on Wingrave as well, going over all the building and how they interact and whatnot. So check them videos out. But yeah, like going over the buildings from the website and whatnot, it does feel very more like complimenting each other, but not like required. At least that's like the vibe I get anyway.
Wayfinder can equip literally any weapon in the game. Really fundamentally changes,
Yeah,
how
that's a
you're
good
gonna
point as
act
well.
and where you're going to position yourself in a fight and where you're going to.
Because that does also change,
Yes,
especially when you bring in
Your
the
abilities
weapon
are gonna
itself.
dictate, okay, am I more of a support role because I can heal? But really, it is up to the character. So, like Wingrave, I think is a great example. Everybody.
That's
looks at him as
that's
like,
the shield guy, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
big
that's
dude,
my
which is
main.
the
burly
which
guy.
is the
Yeah,
token
that's-
hero.
He's awesome. He's awesome. But my favorite way to play him actually was not really support at all. Even though that's like what his kit, screams to you is like, okay, he can put down a shield, he can block projectiles, he can heal, he can put down an invulnerability bubble, which is fantastic to save parties and
Halo
whatnot.
chat.
But like I was like, nah, I'm gonna do this intentionally. So in the beta, I equipped 2 daggers, so the Rose and Thorn daggers,
Oh,
and like all I was just like, okay, I can parry. That's my only real defense. And he has one of his third ability puts a mark on the enemies, and every time you hit him, and it's per instance of damage, it returns health and makes like a little health bob and comes back. So essentially, it turned him into like a DPS like lifesteal rogue character. So
Huh.
like I was rolling around, I was parrying, and
I
then
think
if I
about it.
already
I'm
got low,
honestly
I'd
kinda
pop
curious
this
to met
on
with
them
that
and hit them
myself.
a bunch of times and get all my health
One we can
back.
easily flip
And then
between all the
eventually, if I
weapons.
needed to, drop down a health bubble to avoid a giant AOE or something like that. So
Because
I
if it's
really want it to
designed
be up to the player how they
to
want
to actually play
the
into
game,
it and not
so
just be
you're
an
not really
option,
locked
would be
into one
nice.
type. Yes, there's certain kits that will fit more easily into that category, but if you really want to be like, no, I'm playing Silo as a big tanky frontline boy because I have this
I don't know what
taunt
Silo
clone,
is.
I
I'm
can
not
do that.
super familiar with.
Oh, sorry.
The
I know.
Wayfinder names.
I've been talking to you. So Silo is one of the other starting characters. He's
He
the
my
ranged guy,
main
so,
chat.
Okay.
He's got the fire bombs. He's got the slow that you can combo with the fire bombs to do like a napalm burn dot.
Oh man,
He's got like a clone that goes down that taunts enemies and goes into it, and then he has like an ult that he throws. He has like a little pet robot that will do like a giant like electric AOE. But yeah, he's kit from a perspective. He's like, okay, this is like the ranger kind of like DPS range DPS character.
You know
And,
how I feel with that.
but again,
And,
if you
and a
wanna
little
make him
support
tanky,
with like
you
slowing
can-
enemies and stuff.
The ecosystem is really what is going to determine that, and you can swap those in and out at any point. But the echoes are really how you're going to set your stat lines, and I think there's like 9 to 12 stats that all can get changed around based off the echoes.
Let's
So-
dive into that. What are the echoes?
So, I think setting the stage a little bit. So you're an echo, technically. So that's why there's copies of everybody flying around. It's kind of think of the multiverse. So the gloom came, mysterious entity, everybody saw these portals. They've been around for thousands of years, but no one knew what they were.
And
Eventually, they'd get
die.
turned on. This gloom is like killing everybody in the world. Like, what's happening? So the Seekers are the heroes that you see in the cutscenes, and like those are the first 3 heroes that you see. So Omen gets the Seekers together. You're gonna go try to fight back this portal in Skylight. Little bit of spoilers, but you get it in the first few seconds. You try to go in there. You all die ultimately. So all the Seekers, the original heroes, the actual living ones, they die. So when you come back, you're actually just an echo of those fallen Seekers. So when you come back, that's why there's multiple versions of you, because you're basically a split reality version of the Seeker that had died. So your echo is the echo of the soul of the previous person who died. So when you're playing through the game, the same sort of thing, because you're an echo, you actually get to manipulate kind of the world around you. So when you kill things, like they have a chance of dropping their echo. So it could be like a turtle sword, which is like a giant turtle monster. Like you have a chance of killing that and it'll drop its echo, which is essentially like imbuing their essence, their DNA into your own. So every time that you kill something, you have a chance for it to drop its echo, and its stats will basically get imbued into yourself. So there's a bunch of different types of echoes. So you have your attack echoes, you have your defense echoes, you have your hybrid echoes, you have your balance, and you have your rush type echoes. People who are familiar with the game, we've renamed it, so the type E echoes are probably the most interesting ones.
Oh, okay.
Those are the ones that you get typically from fighting bosses or like really special creatures. And those will
I didn't
actually
realize they
not just be
renamed any of
stats,
them.
but it will affect how you play the game pretty fundamentally. So like, you
Is
do
this
double
something
jump,
that
get an
that
effect
you
and that sort of thing.
equip? Is this something that you
Yeah.
equip, or okay? So you
Yeah.
just
So
equip this
think of-
echo, and this determines your stats and determines kind of
A
like how
material
tanky
for
you
Final
are,
Fantasy
all of that
VII.
stuff.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're slots. They're kind of like Diablo gems, but they have a lot more impact.
Or,
I'd say.
or that.
Because you actually can find them. You can
Okay, fine.
imbue them
Diablo
together, fuse
slots
them is what we
or
call it.
gems.
And it'll make
I
it a
went
more
Final
powerful
Fantasy
version.
VII route,
You
yeah.
do have like a capacity, so as you level up, you'll get more capacity, so you can put more powerful ones in there. You'll get more slots, and then they very similar to Warframe, like they'll have an affinity. So if you match this is an offensive slot, this is an attack slot. You
Yeah.
get an attack echo. You put in there, it's cheaper than if you put force
I'm
a different type
assuming-
echo in there. So
I'm assuming each of the Wayfinders will have like a different, almost like slot table, which will let you just like okay. So,
Yeah,
so
so
it'll let them kind of like excel. You can tinker with it, but some will always excel at certain things. Because like when you
You
were
don't
when
see
you were
why I'm very
describing the
excited about
kit
this, chat.
for Silo, I was like, that sounds great. I like explosions. Explosions are fun.
You only
And
told
it'd
me
be great
went
to just
hundreds
have
of
a sword and
hours
shield
about
dude that also throws grenades.
making,
like, that sounds,
you
that
know,
sounds exactly like something I like to do.
making like
So,
different
that sounds
characters
very
and
interesting, and the fact that you can kind of like customize
a
that
variety
system. It'll
to
remain
the
to be seen,
characters.
like how deep into the meta you can go like that. Like how easy is it to go back? Like let's say, oh, I leveled up Silo as this super tanky dude, but I got to this point and now he sucks. Like, is it easy for me to just fix that, or is that going to be a problem?
So there are skill trees that as you level up, you will get skill points, and you have to put those into your like abilities to like focus on what abilities you want to use.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. And, like, that's the main reason why I've been saying, like, I still personally wish, like, my biggest thing I wish so hard about that, like, Albert touched on it though at the beginning about the whole thing of, like, only so much we can say and only so much we can talk about and not only do so much. And I very much wish they would, like, okay, game coming out in, be like, oh, the game coming out in September. So, since, the game comes out on the 15th, actually. It does come out on the 15th. It would have been nice if it got put back a month, and then the 15th would have been an open beta, and just be like, play it. Like, that, honestly, I wish they did. Or, also, like, don't get me wrong, there are, like, a handful of content creators out there that actually went and played. Like, if you watch any of my videos I have done, on Wayfinder, like, I always put, like, video by, because, I can't use any of my gameplay or anything, and I can only really talk around what always been talked about, either by Alot, by the CEOs, or, like, what was mentioned already in videos that already out there. So it do like so much stuff I can't even dive into. So it just like, you know, you only can do so much. I feel like maybe it'd be better if we, you know, like all of us that are under NDA could show up, or you guys would have been able to play it. That is like, honestly, as a whole, is my only, like, you know, complaint I get towards, you know, we got plenty of Sega complaint, but this is like my only real complaint I have for Airship or Digital Stream, whoever is making the decision on that. I really wish they would give like a weekend or something to let anyone play it and not have it under NDA, so like I could stream it, you could stream it, you could watch videos of it, we could play together, and then have the release like a week or two later or something like that. That is like the main thing. So I like 100% understand, which I'm hoping, you know, since Alex, if you guys saw it, Alex was the one that came into our stream and was like, hey, you guys want keys? You know, while I was asleep. So that kind of like the whole thing of like, since the way they having to do like, you know, the key and no pre-order because how, you know, how they in like a very funky stage right now with the whole all the asset, but you know, packs and PlayStation and the whole thing, which they will probably talk about. But nonetheless, it's like the main reason, like I was telling you guys, is like make sure you heal on Tuesday, because I don't have key because I don't get key till the game comes out. By so I will probably get key probably that morning or something. So if Alex is able to give a key, once again, no guarantee. I don't know. Alex said he's gonna try. So if we have keys, like ideally, hopefully, you know, ideally I would like to have enough to like get you in Mason, CM we would just drag in, and then have enough to also give away.
Do you have a key?
Oh God, here we go. The beginning. I legally can't say right now, CM, but all joking aside, like I that's my only real complaint, to be totally honest. It's like I feel like there would be like so much more excitement around this if there were like way more, you know, way to shell or for you guys to actually play it. So ideally, knock on wood, once again, all happenstance here, we will see. We might get key, we might not. Alex gonna try, so take that as you will. But ideally, I would love to literally just be like we thought the stream, and then like as we, you know, just bullshitting, you know, let's you know, just have like a handful of people, like here you go, Mason, here you go, get a couple of you guys in to play with me, and then we just do giveaway for the rest of the stuff, and what I would love to do. That way you guys don't have to, you know, spend 20, 50, 100, whatever it might be.
I'm looking for a key. Do you have a key? Has anyone seen a key?
Why do the bots sound so, like, needy? I don't know why the bot sounds so needy, but it does. But yeah, hopefully we will get a handful, and you know, enough to actually give away, and enough to also give to you guys so you can come and party with us and help with content and whatnot. That is my hope, but I 100% agree, Mason. 100%. I wish they did do a public beta at least once before this.
And then there's going to be even more layers that we're not quite ready to announce exactly how it's going to work, but we have heard that players do want more that like tangible customization, so we are working on it. It wasn't
there you go, CM.
Again, that kind of community feedback, but as far
time
as
to get
the
your
echoes
ball
go,
head.
you can swap those out literally anytime. So if we want that to be, you know, okay, here these I found some really rare rolls of the echoes. I've invested a lot into those.
Yeah, so in other words, I don't think we have to
together,
pay
so
or
it's a lot
anything.
of, the in-game resources to make this as a really powerful one. But I already have like 3 other DPSs like before this event, or I guess 2 would be in the beginning, make more sense because it's maximum party size of 3. Then you can swap it out like, okay, I just want to be a little.
You made sense, CM.
A lot of defense in there, a lot of resilience, a lot of health or whatever it might be. You can. Swap
don't worry, we will have a Wazo in our backpack for you,
so
CM. It'll be fine.
Customization is the ecosystem is pretty there's no cost to doing that. There will be a system for like resetting your skill points and your skill trees and stuff like that, which will take some in-game gold or something like that.
The reason I kind of like bring that type of feedback is because I always find it to be important that with these types of live service games, balance is always going to be something that the team is going to be working towards.
Yeah, that can always change.
Outlier, he's just out DPSing everybody else, so everybody wants to be him. We're going to have to go ahead and nerf that. But in the meantime, there'll be like, I don't know, 1,000, 5,000 players that just invested all of their time in maximizing the DPS of that build. And then in comes the nerf hammer. And I was like, wait a minute.
I'm looking at you, Blizzle.
It's like I've been working everything towards this, and now I want to change to something else, and then it's like, oh yeah, but now you got to like deal with all of these other systems that make it problematic.
No other game that is experiencing exactly like this in the most recent patch.
No,
not
at all. Totally not Diablo.
Sounds like a complete lie. I don't
Fantasy land, right?
Totally not Diablo.
No, every patch, everybody's happy. No, yeah, so completely understandable.
My God.
Even the weapons, like, again, if you have a weapon, we do make players make a decision before they, like, commit to going into a hunt, which is our boss fights, or go into an expedition, which are basically
you call them hunts?
Last ones.
Yeah,
so
you're already winning. You're already winning points with this community.
Yeah, all right, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the Monster Hunter fans, I think will really get a good scratch from the game. Just because, again, that's really what you're trying to do is you're hunting very specific enemies, you're hunting very specific bosses, like late game. You're trying to get the roll of whatever essence of them to drop, and then you collect all those pieces from a bunch of different monsters. You put those together, and then you craft your weapon. And there's no time gating or anything for crafting, which is a departure from
that good.
Warframe, which is nice.
That is
So
some new information I did not know.
Of crafting time or anything like that. It's literally you get the pieces, you got them in game. Doesn't matter if you're a free player or a paid player. Literally the same. That's how
it's literally like I have
I'll
said.
want to
It's just
dive
Monster
a little
Hunter.
bit deeper into that a little bit further ahead, but
Sure.
yeah, let's. I want to focus on a couple of things before we go down that road. But yeah, so we can respec all of that stuff for people that are wondering. Yep. There will be respec mechanics, and those will be adjusted depending on how you guys feel that it is fair.
So I wonder the time will stop it only for your house. I wonder then.
Fix that.
My house boots.
So
100%.
one of the one of the questions you kind of like rapid fire answered straight through there, which was I was wondering how many players you would actually have in a party, and you said 3. Are there going to be encounters that are going to feature more than 3 players?
Yeah, and I did get a sneak tease from the team as far as like very early production ideas, kind of like setting the stage in my mind of what like the first raid is going to be. Not ready to reveal the exact numbers and all the details of it yet, but it's I get chills even thinking about it. It's like so freaking cool.
20 chat.
There is going to be raid content
24
right now, like even in early access. There will be like the open world events that you definitely want to have more than 3 players for, but you won't necessarily be in a party, so you might coordinate with another party or a couple parties together.
Yeah.
No
more MMO like trial
like,
stuff.
Okay, let's all coordinate. Let's get in the same instance.
Gigantics.
World boss or something like that.
As example.
So that'll totally be an EA. But for the isolated Lost Zone expeditions, those will be limited to 3 players. You can do it as 2 players. You can do it as solo. It's really up to you how to do it. There's even going to be a helper queue, whereas let's say you want to, just help out some random people. You can actually go into that even as a level, max level character. Go in there and you'll actually get incentivized and get helper coins and rewarded where you get exclusive items just for helping newer players and stuff. So
I find that is a key system that a lot of games tend to forget.
Yep.
Because a lot of games are like, oh, we want to just focus on our community and the people that are already in.
You got to make a reason to make people want to play old content and help
always
people.
Advocates like
literally what I have talked about of the whole thing of like what PSO problem is of like you do the content, you get the item, you got no reason to do the content. You got no reason to help people do content, especially people coming up. So like literally what they just were talking about, like how you fix that. You incentivize people to go back and do older content and to help players that might be, 10, 20, 30, 40 level beneath you or whatever it ends up being. Like, a longer than rewards are good, and a lot of them, such as example being, I'm not saying this is the case by any means, but like example of it would be like how, you know, like Final Fantasy 14 does it with like mounts or triple triad cards, you know, like having like something like that to like motivate you to do that content. Any of you always have moved past it, it's fantastic. So I'm happy they go in that route. Because that means maybe as long as they keep updating the items are good, they rewarding, might it be cosmetic, might be mount, might it be what triple triad cards, like along that happening, you know, you still gonna keep a lot of people, you know, willing to play it. Like I said, look how many people log into the Go and Saucer every day, or do daily roulette like dungeons in 14.
Like, we need to get new
So
players
that's good to
into
know.
these games all the time. So the fact that you're already considering, like, okay, there's a helper queue and there's going to be rewards, which I'm assuming eventually
I need a
these,
piece
like,
of paper,
helper
Chad.
coins they
It
can
will
use
like
for
that.
cosmetics and other stuff.
I need to write down
because
some of this stuff.
fashion is always the real end game in most of these games. But yeah, that's very good that you guys are already considering that stuff. So I was wondering about the scaling, though.
Got
so you
notepad,
said you
Chad.
can do these lost zones, which again is something that I want to get deep into as well. But you can do these with 1 players, 2 players, 3 players. How's the scaling going to work?
Yeah, so it definitely scales up. Let's say you're all the same power level. You know, the
Yeah.
power level is the main, you know, source of truth, I'd say, for how the difficulty scales. So as you increase your stats, like the average and conglomeration of all those stats will turn into an average power level. And then the power level, each instance that you go into has increasing.
Got it. I'm
levels
taking
of
notes,
difficulty.
Chat.
So the first level instances will be, you know, 500 power level. The next, you know,
Yeah.
tier of that will
It's
be
just, it's just
1,000,
battle
and
power.
1,500,
It all it
et
is.
cetera, et cetera. So it will always, I know this is a scary word, it will scale you down if you're overpowered, because we don't want people just coming in as a level 30 and just blowing through the entire content, one hitting everything, and just like whoever's the lowest level there just doesn't get to participate. So there will be scaling to make that it won't trivialize any of the experience whatsoever. But it will, if you are powerful, if you're overpowered, it will bump you above, you know, like the average highest difficulty. So you'll still feel powerful, you'll still feel strong. You can definitely help lower level people, you know, power level or whatever it might be. But you're gonna actually have to participate. You're actually gonna have to work together. You're actually gonna have to be, you know, use a teamwork versus just someone coming in, speed running the entire dungeon and ending it. So there is scaling towards that. So you will go up and down, but like in the open world area, like Highlands, for example, you know, if you go into there, it will power level you down to just, again, be able to experience the open world area. There will be areas of that where the creatures are really weak and you'll still be one-shotting them, like in that starter area.
I would take that way over
Think of like
enemy going up.
analogies, but there'll be the super low air, but low areas,
Yeah.
so you'll be really powerful. You'll go to the darker, deeper areas of it, and it'll still be harder. But if you did go together and you wanted to go fight the world boss there, like you'll be a special kind of scaling there where you'll get uncapped. So like if you really want to push your build to the limit, there'll be certain areas that you go into and it'll remove that kind of that power level scaling restriction because you need it to take on that boss.
So if you're playing with friends and you're just like way ahead of them, it'll just constantly scale you down to make sure that you're not hard carrying. I know that for some.
If you know what it sound like to me, don't get me wrong, it's obviously from the way they talk and sound like you're gonna do it automatically. But the thing is about that is the thing that it remind me of, which I know you would know, Mason, in level sync in Final Fantasy 11. That pretty much is what this is being made out to be. So I'm actually really cool with that. I actually really like that because because I know I have went into moments in MMOs where like, oh, I'm doing the content. Let's see what the content is, and then like one of you in chat or a random point would just come along and just like I get one hit in and everything just dies, which is the main reason why I usually like PSO did because that's how PSO is. But in like other MMOs and stuff, I will always try to do it like once solo, and then after I do it once, and it'd be like, oh, okay, we can do stuff. But like the playing co-op game, as an example of that. So it's good to see there is something that gonna step in place of that where you're not gonna have to worry about that. So, and I'm all full level sync from Final Fantasy, so let's go.
People, this is going to be like, oh, but I want to be able to hard carry my friends. Me personally, I prefer it the other way around. I like the fact that, when I get together with my friends, maybe I'm not necessarily caring, and it still feels like everybody's meaningfully contributing, because I find it to be boring for the other people involved. But you know, I know that.
Well, like me with Sam and PSO, I'm just standing waiting for it to get done.
I assume that at the beginning, at least, you're not going to be giving that. They're just like, oh no, I just, you know, this person agrees they want me to just like burn through this. You guys are like, no, we're not doing that.
I'd say the option and the choice comes whether or not you're going to be partying with lower level folks or not. So if you want to feel super powerful and you want to go for it and you want to do it solo, we're much more okay with that, and it's your experience that you're getting to choose versus forcing that on other players. Because again, you have to think anything that we do as a party, you know, that could be an understanding agreement between you and your direct friend that you're trying to help through. But also that's the same system can work with a random person. So we don't want that experience with a random person to be awful. So if you're ever partying with somebody, then that's where it's going to be much more enforced. Whereas if you're going to do it solo, it's your complete own choice. You're going to feel way more powerful doing it like as a solo player.
And the scaling also in terms of like the monsters, I'm assuming they get more health, they deal more damage, or do you spawn more monsters in depending on the number of players?
Yeah, it's definitely like I think we've struck a pretty nice balance. One experience I hated with Skyrim was when you just max it up to max difficulty. It's like, okay, well now it's just a huge damage sponge, and I do zero damage and it one-shots me and everything like that. So it doesn't feel like that, but it definitely will amp up. So you're still doing big numbers. It is just going to be, you're going to have to be a little bit more tactical as far as, okay, it's going to take some more hits. I can't just, you know, mindlessly click. I do need to be paying attention to the entire fight. I need to be parrying. I do need to be dodging.
Because honestly, new attacks, new movement, new mechanics.
But yeah, like, if you go to an area that is too hard, let's say you just launch into the game and you're like, I'm running straight to the end of this.
And then NGF was just like, nope.
You will get murdered. But that's fine. Some people are allowed to do that. But if you want to, you know, actually progress through the different zones and the different stages, then you'll notice yourself like go back to those earlier zones. You're like, oh my god, I'm so much more powerful than I was. So that part, and personally, I love that. I hate kind of going into a game and no matter where I go, everything feels the same, and I feel like I've actually gotten weaker in some games when I level up. That's not the case. You definitely have distinct feelings of like, okay, I've graduated this zone. These guys are.
Yeah, that's literally what I've been talking about, like with PSO, was just like the more powerful we get, the let we feel it. Especially when you start going into an event where like they obviously nerf you down, but they don't point how they nerf you down. Well, this leaks sound like they are going to be like, oh, this is it, so this is what you are. So like that is ideally better, but like in PSO though, it's like that. I think also that another reason why I don't really upgrade my equipment that often, because I don't actually get that satisfaction of feeling like I am stronger. So, and that like one of my favorite things in RPGs is like that. The reason I would literally spend hundreds of hours leveling the mat level, any of like level 30, 40, and whatever RPG is good enough, I would still get the mat level, get all the best equipment. Just to, you know, have that satisfaction of just team rolling stuff. And it's good to see that they are going to be doing that in this for the most part. So that's good.
But, you know, there's still areas that give me some challenge.
So one of the interesting things about a lot of these, I'm not going to say MMO, but I do want to bring like kind of like MMO light type of games, and even MMOs. Like a lot of people, really, they don't have like a good schedule to coordinate with others, and they're just like, I need to play this solo. What is the solo player experience like in Wayfinder?
It's pretty similar. I love multiplayer games, like just the sense, and it's just the stupid BS that happens, honestly, which is probably my favorite aspect of it, which is not even gameplay. It's just like stupid stuff that you cause your friends to do. So that's definitely a different aspect of the game that you can't get on a solo experience.
Yeah.
But as far as like gameplay wise and progression and stuff like that, you can play through pretty much all of the content as a solo player. I won't be surprised. I want to say like the world bosses and some of like the hardcore bosses you can't do solo, but I know the internet.
There's gonna be people. Yeah, there's gonna be people.
Hi X. He would just talk. They are acting about like what did the game like as a solo player.
I heard my name, what you say?
Okay, so yeah, they talking about like can the game be played solo and what the experience. And Al had brought up like playing with other people and just seeing the bullshit that could happen with other people is fun. And I just called you out just because of like, you know, the whole us in Final Fantasy 11 one around and when you just screaming at random people as far as like something you can't affect and you won't get out of solo. You know, your goblin NG. He was talking about that. And that's how I feel about UX. It's just like the level of goblin energy you have in Final Fantasy 11, like, yeah, we would never have that experience in any like any other MMO though. Yeah, that's the reason I use you as an example, because I know you have that goblin energy in all the games. And I bet no dissing in Wayfinder.
People doing it.
If you do play.
I'm not gonna say they can't do it. But there is design choices that we want. We incentivize a group kind of coordination for some of the challenges in the game. But I know there's going to be some freaking insane people out there. I have no doubt.
Something to try for, Dale.
Like matchmaking. Is it going to be a matchmaking?
Yeah, that's a sad part. I understand that.
You can matchmake with other people.
If it wasn't my job, I'm right there with you.
Gloomgate is like the main hub. So once you've gone out into the open world, you found all your little mini dungeons. You can basically just stay in Skylight and interact with those dungeons that you've discovered via the Gloomgate. And then in the hub, where you're going to be able to put in all the imbuements and create the mutators, which we haven't even touched on yet. Yep. And the top corner.
Team.hack, he'll chat.
Okay, do you want to be in matchmaking? Do you want to do it solo? Do you want to do duo? How do you want to interact with this? Okay. And the helper system is like another kind of matchmaking queue that'll be completely random. It'll be up to where players are needing help at. So again, you're giving up a little bit of that freedom of choice, but you're getting rewarded with the helper coins.
Also, real quick, because of
I'm so interested in what the helper coins are.
Form parties between Steam and PS and PlayStation,
yep.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, so everybody's going to get like a unique social code in their top right.
A friends list type of situation.
Which as a content creator yourself, you might want to come up with a custom little overlay to hide that, unless you want anybody in the internet flooding your friend box. Close.
Yeah.
I feel like he's just talking to admin go now. I need to see what that was. I don't remember seeing that in the betas. God, I do. I need to look and see. I need to see what that number is. Because, I'm adding all you guys. I'm just adding all you guys. I'm fine. I wonder, now thinking about it, I wonder what the party, or not the party, but the friendly cap is then. Because I know, obviously, we're not going to have a problem at all sides. But I wonder how bad it actually will be for, like, the admin go types, though.
But yeah, there will be a social code that will be unique to you as your account. So whatever.
I'm happy it is shown all the time, though. That way I'm not having to go through menu to try to find it constantly.
So one of the things which kind of connects with the solo experience is, and I don't know if you guys are ready to talk about this yet, but it is, how does the main campaign fit into the gameplay loop? Because you've said that a big portion of the game is going to be more side quests and stuff that you encounter out in the world, but like I'm assuming there's going to be one main campaign, one main thread.
Yeah, so the main story quest is really how it's going to unlock new features, I'd say. So in order to actually get access to all the lost zones, you're going to have to progress through the main story quest. So there's a core main story. This is the ones that are going to be fully voice acted. And really
pretty much a D-up.
The lore. I really do recommend, we have some phenomenal names as far as just like the voice acting talent and, the amount of effort we're putting on the narrative side to really build this world out. So instead of just spamming the click through the main story quest, actually getting those instances to really set the foundation of everything this game will come. So like those will be the ones that are much more flushed out story-wise, much more lore-driven, getting the sense of the personalities of the different Wayfinders that you're playing versus the characters that you're going to find in NPCs in the world. And then that's how you're going to find all of the different lost zones that you'll eventually get to grind late game for the individual crafting components. But also unlocking different systems that you can progress your character through. So like housing, you have to get to a certain point in the main story quest, and then a side quest opened up, and that's how you're going to get access to the housing, and then like crafting stuff for the housing system. Your echoes, like your
So same as like Final
gonna have
Fantasy
to do a
14
task
that
when you
way.
get a certain point in the main story quest in order to access.
Cause wasn't it like if I remember right in 14, it was you had to get to a certain rank in whatever city, and then that's how you unlock your apartment. Well, when you guys know, anybody watching it after that on YouTube, let me know in the comments. But I believe that's how that operated. If I remember right.
We might have shown off like the hook shot and other, the mounts when the mounts are in. Like that'll be like a main story progression that you're going to want to push yourself through. Get to those bosses. Getting to the bosses, you're going to have to progress the main story quest to unlock those bosses and things like that. So all of those things will make sense contextually, like why they're available.
So they doing tutorial through gameplay then, pretty much.
Have, like the whole open world areas and anything that you've done up to that point, you can experience and roll as many times as you want. Just like that quick, I have 15-20 minutes, I just want to do a lost zone real quick before work. You can jump into those versus like trying to progress like a full quest chain.
Okay, so basically that quest is going to be very mandatory in terms of progression and advancing through the game. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms
and the
of
whole new areas too. So like the getting access to that next like open world area, you're gonna have to progress through the main story quest. Like the main boss. Think of them kind of like big chapters. So like there's gonna be like the chapter boss that you have to beat, and that'll like unlock the next area, and it'll make sense why you're there and what you're trying to do through the context of the main story quest.
How many hours, like say someone just beelines the quest? And again, I'm gonna throw questions out that you might not be ready to answer, but it's like how many hours are you estimating that it's going to take like an average player to get through the campaign to unlock everything at this point?
If they're just doing the main story quest, it's so hard to say. If you're being like a super try-hard, sweaty gamer doing nothing but the main story quest,
nobody does that.
Nobody does that. I have not.
No one poops sock in 2023.
At least what we're going to offer in like the Founders Season 1.
Yeah.
And like it's the main story quest, you could probably do it in a good 30 hours if you're doing nothing else. I'd say that's pretty.
We will see the end to this and at about 300 hours.
Safe. I know there'll probably be people that just like hold my beer.
But skip all the cutscenes. Go.
Yeah, exactly. Which please don't do. Like, oh my gosh, they're so.
They
good.
go into though,
especially the second zone they get into, like, and you start really getting to the nitty gritty of like, oh shit, what's going down here? So I'd say.
That's still a decent amount of content.
Like again, 80-90% of the quest and like the content and the stuff, like our side quest team does a fantastic job. Like, and you'll learn a lot about the game if you do read through like those little notes. Like that's all on the side quest side of things. Yeah. So like that's ignoring all of that.
So this is still easily probably 100 plus.
Weapon. I want to get the right type of echoes.
How long you don't just bounce the second you finish the campaign.
To that type of stuff, it's also
important.
You
don't get into Monster Hunter stuff.
Daunting because it will scare some players away if it's like, oh yeah, it takes about 100 hours to unlock all the things in the game. People are like, what? Like that's always the thing. Like, for instance, I'm a huge fan of Final Fantasy 14, but to try and sell a new player on Final Fantasy 14.
I mean, I'm a Dota 2 player, so
yeah.
I completely get that. Something's just like, yep, sorry. It's either you know how to play or you're screwed.
Yeah, it's kind of rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is something that you plan on adding on, I'm assuming, as more seasons come along and stuff. You're planning on adding more to the main story campaign as well, I would imagine?
Yeah, so we're doing like a seasonal cadence. So every 3 months is going to be the next season, and the next season is going to be essentially, you got to see the Venomous anime. But that's how we're going to be kind of introducing characters. Really exciting announcements coming out for the next character, which we've teased at. But essentially, yes, every season, every 3 months is going to be that new character release, their new signature weapon, and then like flushing out all the content in the that was previously in the game. So like new events and lost zones and that sort of thing. And then every other
so
season,
pretty much every 3 months of the
is going to
expansion.
be all of that plus a whole new open world area, or lost zone area. So that's the cadence it's going to be. So every 6 months you're going to get an expansion of the game, of the footprint of the game.
There we go.
World, where
Literally what I just said.
What you're going to be able to interact with.
Thank you for
but
putting
every
in
season
my
we're gonna
rules. I
get at least
appreciate
a
it.
New Wayfinder, a new character.
I'm not
new events,
crazy.
New side quests, all that sort of
So
jazz.
every 3 months, a new character.
Yep. Every
That
3 months, a
is-
new character.
That is
with
really
new
setting
weapons and a
yourselves
bunch of
up
other
for a
stuff.
lot of hard work.
Yes, it is, and we are we're a small and scrappy team, but we set up ourselves. I mean, we've been working on this game for almost 5 years at this point behind the scenes. So we really wanted to be able to, like, even when we announced, because we didn't
Like,
announce
man,
until
doesn't
Summer
feel like
Games
been
Fest,
that
which was
long,
less
chap.
than a year ago. Or it was the Game Awards, sorry. So
Yeah, the
the
Game
Game
Awards.
Awards is when we first announced, and we were like, by the way, you're not going to have to wait 5 years and just like never hear from us again. It's literally next week is when we're doing the first test. So we've been putting a lot of work in the back.
Yeah,
end
I think
to
I
get
got
this
in
game ready to
around
roll, and,
second test, I
you know,
believe.
the amount, again, I want to temper expectations, but the amount of surprise that we got from players, like when they got in, they're like, holy crap, this is a pre-alpha test. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well,
So
that was me.
There was a lot of,
That was literally me. Like, got into the tap, played it for like 10, 12 so hours, and instantly it's just like, fuck, man. This is everything I wanted. And then, well, you guys are now sick of me talking about Wayfinder. So,
a lot of excitement as far as just like that, but I do want to temper that. Like, this is literally, even once we get to free to play, this is just a fraction.
like I said, it ain't in full beta, man.
But we do hope that the stuff that is there is enough.
Like,
to
night
make
and
us
day disn't coming out of PSO.
excited.
You
So,
made it!
you know, stick around for.
And dude, thank you. You pulled up portal. And welcome. Thank you, my dude. As you can tell, we're in the middle of interview with Alex about Wayfinders, and we are like only a few days out from all the assets. So we're checking this out, getting some new information. I may or may not be taking notes. So yeah, welcome.
For years to come.
Okay, so let's tackle a little bit of the gameplay loop. You've talked about open areas, dungeons, all of this stuff. Let's say I've been playing the game for, I don't know, 40 hours now. I log in. What am I looking forward to?
So at that point, I'd say you've probably gone through all the quests. You've probably gotten through the bosses, or you have just like the last couple bosses that you're trying to fight through. I'd say you'd be wanting to log in. There's one sexy item that you saw someone running around with, and you're like, I'm gonna get that item, damn it. Or you looked in the crafting system and you saw you'll get to a full list, a codex of like, okay, this is the item, these are the parts, these are where the parts drop, and you'll basically be pulling out like a Pokedex of like how to hunt down the stuff that you're looking for.
Yeah,
So
Motto
you'll
Hunt
probably be
on
like,
that.
okay, I need to go get this piece. Like, I might not get the full thing, but I'm gonna go track down this piece. So you're gonna open up.
Which, well, my
that
OCD
dungeon,
gonna
that boss
kick
zone.
in
You're gonna run through
and
it.
equal
There are
300-400 hours
modifiers that you can
easily.
do to help make that more
So-
reality.
So let me just interrupt you there
maybe you'll
real
dive into
quick.
that. Yeah.
We are talking about targeted loot, is what you're saying?
Yep.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
literally
okay,
Motto
so
Hunt.
now you have my attention, because like one of the reasons why I like Monster Hunter so much is because, like, hey, I want to make the fire sword. I'm
Yeah,
gonna kill the
and you
monster
know
that drops the
exactly
parts to
you
make
know
the
exactly
fire
how
sword,
to do it,
and then I'm
where
gonna
to
make the
go.
fire sword. Like, it's not 100% guaranteed that I get all the parts, but I know exactly where it is. It's not like, oh, just you
Yep.
know, just farm random things and
Sega. Like I said, this is the part that like originally got me once I realized this and realized it just like, oh god, it's just Motto Hunter. And well, you guys know my Motto Hunter addiction. I'm on Dragon Warrior Quest. That too, I guess, X. But yeah, you guys have seen how I have got like in Motto Hunter World, just like I gotta kill every Motto Elite once. Like in Motto Hunter War, I had a bad habit from what I played of it, and same thing go for Motto Hunter 3. It's just like I saw the list and like I'm gonna get every goddamn weapon on that list, and I haven't changed in YZ either. So it like, and like I said, being able to be like this Motto, this area, this place, this drop weight, and like. That is just like my OCD just waiting to, grab a hold of it. With Found a Pat, am I getting also welcome? The plan is as of now. My plan is gonna go one of two ways. As of now, I am in talk with Airship Syndicate right now. I'm in talk with Alot, who would be in interview at the moment. Alot did state he's going to try to get us some keys. So we will see what keys that might be, if at all. So probably what's going to happen is, obviously, hopefully, I will know what's going on, ideally, before, the game goes live. So my plan as of now, depending on what key Alot give us, but let's say once again, because they're not like a full set in stone yet, I would just say you're gonna try. And so if that don't work out, sadly, finance wise, right now finance wise, I'm sadly gonna have to just go for the $20 one. And then hopefully, since I think they say you can upgrade down the line if you want. So yeah. Right now, if we happen to get the big packet from Alex, big packet, the main one, 150, 180, whatever it is. But if it have to come out of my pocket, sadly, it's gonna have to be the $20 one, because I would love to buy the big package. But, we just don't have that finance right now. So, but yeah, that is my plan. So my plan as of now is, let's say bet case scenario worked out. Once again, it's all hypothetical. If bet case scenario work out with Alex, is hopefully for review code wide, they would just give up the bigger one, knock on wood. And if we have more than just the one key, since I know Alex said multiple keys, or try for it. Once again, no guarantee, just a possibility here. But if that does work out, I have no idea, like, because for all I know, it might be all just PC keys, or it might not be. I don't know. But I'm hoping, like, we have enough keys if Alex can get us some. To not only get the big old pack, but I would love, honestly, if we could get like 5-10 keys, if that any a possibility at all. Like, I would love to, get not only the higher one, so we can check out the other character, the new character, but also enough to like give out to everybody in chat. Like that is kind of like my hope. And then hopefully have a couple extra that we can do like giveaway for anybody that might be like, drive-by, chattels. But once again, we will see. So, who knows? Maybe, for all I know, comes, the 15th. Who knows? Maybe we will have a couple 180. Maybe only a couple 20. Maybe nothing at all. We will see. But yeah. My plan also is by the 20 and then slowly upgrade. Yeah, that kind of where I am if I have to go out of my own pocket is 20 guarantee and then hope for the best for upgrading. Will I be able to? That is up in the air, but I would like to be honest. But once again, we will cross that bridge on the 15th. But it all else failed, the 20 in my plan. Well, I'm leaning right now because that's all I can afford. But yeah, hopefully, like ideally, I would love if possible, to just be like, oh, we got like 10, like 150 packs, just be like, say we had like 5 or 10 of them, take like 2 or 3 key, give it to the people I know are gonna play with me, like Mason and whatnot, and then do like giveaway for the West. So I guess I would say make sure you probably heal on the 15th, because I might have higher keys, I might not. We will see. But yeah. Either way you go, I will keep you guys up to date. If Alot, get number, verify, as we get closer. Or for all I know, I might just wake up and have an email. we will see. But yeah, if like the sooner I can get that verified, like as soon as I can, one way or another, getting, not getting, what we're getting, I will be sure to let everybody know on stream, what is happening. Because like I would love for all of us to play together when it comes out. And then we can totally be giddy as he is right now about Monster Hunter.
and eventually you might get it. It's like, no, I love targeted stuff. If I can just be like,
Yeah.
no, this is where I want to go. I can do this and repeat this until I get it. That
Final
is
Fantasy
perfect.
11, chat.
Yeah. No, that's
Me
gonna
farming
be
stuff in Final Fantasy 11.
Kind of the bread and butter of the game. It's a collection based game. So I mean, again, that Monster Hunter itch, like, you know, it's really going to be thematic to what you're trying to kill and why it makes sense. So like Venom is one of the daggers, which is like they're dripping poison and they look like, you know, kind of bone fangs sort of things. To get that, you're going to have to go kill creatures that probably are venomous or poisonous or have some sort of like dot mechanic to it. You kill those, there's a chance that, you know, they have a big loot table, but there's a chance that that piece drops from it. You get all those together, then you get to craft whatever weapon you're looking for. And I think we have 17 weapons that we're launching at early access. But again, there's going to be, you know, signature weapons and other weapons dropping every single.
I feel like it more than that.
That you're going to continue, and then eventually it's going to.
But we caught once again. We caught that bridge on Tuesday.
Each single weapon has a unique ability to it as well. So even if it's in the same weapon class, each weapon within that class has a unique weapon ability. So there is a reason to collect them, to try them out and use for a very specific.
17 is still a decent amount,
So you
especially
were saying that we'll
with
be able
6
to
total
modify,
total.
Like, what was it, dungeons or something? Where
Yeah.
So what is that, like
Yeah,
3,
so
4 weapons
that's the bread
apiece
and
for each
butter.
class?
What makes this game daunting, but also interesting. So
I
in the
can't, man. I
beginning,
don't know
there
how
are
accurate that is.
5 different imbuements, and think of the imbuements as basically the laws of nature, so to speak. So you'll have these
ABC
gems that
and
you'll find through the game, or you'll
dot
be able to
hack.
craft, and they each imbue different elements. So there's solar, which is kind of fire. There's flora, which is like earth, poison sort of things. There's shadow, which is kind of like the darkness and the gloom and sort of things like that. We are going to be increasing in that, which is terrifying to think about, because the number of permutations that come out of that is just mind-boggling. But every single combination of those things, and as you progress the main story quest, you can slot in more and more of those, and each combination of those makes a different result. So when you go into a lost zone, let's say you're loading up codex halls, which is like the beginning one, you just do base codex halls. Everything is kind of just status quo, normal baseline, but you throw in solar. Okay, now you have like fire pits popping up, and you have kind of like a burn effect on enemies. And
I didn't realize we were going to get
what events are going to spawn, and
more
what,
random
you know, elites
to
are
it.
going to have, and that sort of thing. So you actually can, you know, we say that the tagline "Control the Chaos." That's what we mean. Is if you do have a very targeted and specific thing that you're searching for, and then you're looking to, you know, to gain, you're going to look through your material codex and you're like, okay, I need to do this with this. This is the highest chance that this event spawns. Is you go in there, you put those combinations of imbuements. It makes a modifier. The modifier does unique things to the level. It adjusts, you know, the loot tables that are dropped. It adjusts the spawn rate. It adjusts, you know, what the experience is.
One thing, it adjusts the loot tables, but it doesn't change them, right? It just modifies the percentage of getting certain items. So say if I'm a player that like, oh, I don't want to deal with all that, but I still get a chance of getting that piece of loot. It's just a smaller chance.
Yeah, so it's there, like the core of it. It's I'd say it's, you know, it's adjusting that 10% versus like fundamentally changing the entire level. Like you're still going there. It's going to be mostly the main experience, but if you really want to like edge up your chances of getting a particular thing, then that's how you're going to do it. But it, you know, there will be certain cases where, you know, you need to have a certain modifier created through those imbuements for the event to spawn. That's going to continue to get more flushed out and more tangible than like in the early days. But the, you know, it's definitely, again, you think of it right now, you're going to have 2 slots. I think maybe you'll get to the third slot, but there's going to be 2 slots that you can put on any dungeon that you get into if you progress the main story quest, and then how you combine those 5 different things. So if you're doing a double flora versus a flora and a solar versus a solar and a darkness or shadow, like all of those have very different results and different implications for like what the expedition is going to be, or the hunt is going to be. So that's a lot of one. We don't want, like, one of the reasons that we're not like hosting like an official wiki and stuff like that. We want this to be community driven, is like we want to kind of help players figure that stuff out, but we want that discovery as like a pillar of like figuring out what the combinations are, and like the community getting on Reddit and like, by the way, if you put these 2 combinations, you're gonna get this, and everybody's like, oh my god, I've been looking for that. Like, we want that to happen. So
that's definitely going to be a thing. That's actually one of the things that I love.
I did very dark hacky.
I don't like seeing all of the solutions online, right? I like experiencing it myself and all of that stuff, and just actually trying to discover secret things. I feel like that's one of the things that we kind of lost over the years with the internet.
Yeah.
Internet's fantastic. Everybody's connected. Everybody's playing games together. It's great. But the problem is also that information spreads too fast a lot of times, and you're like, oh man,
I love
really
a data
wish that I
mining.
knew how to figure this thing out, and somebody's like, yeah, here's the solution to the puzzle, and here's a... You're like, oh damn, thanks, that was great.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I completely get what you're saying, but yeah, so we do want, and like that's why we want the codex, and we want like there to be tools to make it more useful, but like you have to find the thing first, and now you get the, you know,
so there will be like information in the game.
Guide. Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have like a scrapbook.
There'll be hints. There'll be like, once you've, you know, found a thing previously, and you just need to like a reference guide to look up like, where did this drop from? Oh, it dropped from there. Okay, this is how I'm gonna go find it. But then you're gonna be able to, you know, we're not just gonna be like, here's all the answers, just go to our website out of the game and figure out what you need to do. No, we want you to be engrossed in the game and be cool.
Yeah, if it take a few days to put all that together, that'd be ideal.
That's what we want. So
with the with this
because honestly, that one of the things for me when it comes to, like, you know, as someone who literally job to make guide videos and news and whatnot, is always so nice to not just be like day one, be like, oh, X, Y, and Z, like, fully. And like, don't get me wrong, I want more detail once, you know, stuff get added. But as far like day one is concerned,
how much is a penny? 1 cent.
We love Wayfinder hype love 1 year. Can I have a key?
there it is. Come back on Tuesday, maybe. Is it Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. What was the 15 cents? And maybe see him. Maybe. If you're a good boy, maybe. But yeah, like, Elite, like, when the game come out, because it was the biggest thing that, like, killed it for, whatever the Diablo game was called. I can never remember the name of it. Either way, like, that game, like, the biggest problem I had with that game is, like, literally, the game came out, and the day it came out, there were, like, thousands of guide videos already made and up. But that also probably got to do with it coming out, you know, yields in advance and Quia. But, like, Elite, like I said, when a expansion stuff get added, like, yeah, I would, like, ideally want it to be, like, heal 17 weapon, like, go through each of the weapon, heal the stats. But, like, mechanically, like, what you're talking about, the Monster Hunter stuff, it's like, oh, okay, so that's how we're going to get it. Got it. Probably going to be in a new zone. Got it. Like, that type of stuff is, like, I would want to know, but, like, the stuff that they'll day one.
You know me, Troy. I'm always the goodest boy.
That is true, you
So,
are.
can I have a key?
Fine. I will put you on the short list with you and Mason. And he about always said if we got like 10 keys, I would guarantee give you 2 keys because we need a party of 3 and you 2 are reliable. But and also, who else am I gonna put on the thumbnail other than you, see him? But yeah, like when game comes out, like the main thing always interesting to me, like what they talking about here, it literally the biggest thing about like when PSO2 were coming to the West and nobody really did content on PSO because, you know, the whole ban situation.
How much is a penny? 1 cent.
Fabulous. Thank you, Troy. I donate my key to Pride Hype Love 1.
Pride, you all see him. You're officially in a party now. You're gonna be let go out of the basement. It's gonna happen, Pride. But yeah, like PSO was always like early on when like people knew of like, oh, this is stuff in Japan, but it no guarantee it's gonna be identical. So it was always fun like logging in onto like YouTube and whatnot, and just being like people just putting together like video like this is how this works, maybe, and just like that matching to that that like group mentality of all of us being like, oh crap, we just figured this something out that is so cool. Make a video, make a video, make a video. And then just like people constantly like adding to it. And that would like from the content creator side, that was like so fun for me of just being like, oh wait, it won't like how it did in JP, or does it totally didn't in JP, but what like this? So how is that gonna work with this other thing? And just like, you know, like literally working with like other content creators, the website, just trying to like put together like a big puzzle. And that was like super fun. So what it sounded like, you know, it sounded like we are going to be doing similar things here. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully we don't go like the NGS Sega route of literally like bare minimum up that should be talked about and never talked about, and you just happen to stumble across it. But that's not fun. That is just like annoying, you know, like some of the quality of life stuff they do and whatnot. But yeah, hopefully it flush out like that for that, hopefully. Because, you know, that is how you get me literally playing for 10 minutes and pausing the game and be like, I got to make a video about this. And I'm really excited to have that feeling again. Hopefully.
They call them mutated imbuements with this imbuement
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
What was I gonna ask? Damn it, I lost it. It's like, for starters, how hard is it for you to get these imbuements?
They're pretty common. Yeah, they're a fairly cheap resource to craft. It's just basically
So like, let's say I do one dungeon or something like that, and it's like, oh, here's a couple of imbuements and you're good to go. It's not like, oh, we expect you to grind for 3 to 4 hours to be able to do one special dungeon.
No, they're pretty common, and we give you a lot of ways of being able to craft them. You can even break down other resources to craft other resources and basically kind of recycle. In a sense. So
Okay.
yeah, imbuements, you're not going to be like flooded in them, but you're going to have. I've never been like, oh crap, I can't physically get this imbuement that I need.
Okay. So
So-
what if I make
So at that point, what it's sounding like to me is kind of sounding like, what was it? Was it like A, B, C, D, E, F, wasn't it, in PSO? If you were doing like event quests where it'd be like, oh, I need B to do a certain thing, but I don't have B. What do? You do A. I don't have A, be like, okay, you can either buy it, get it through other means, and then once you have A, you do A few times, you get B, you do B, you get C, and just like theme worlds. That's what it kind of sounds like a little bit.
let's say I make a dungeon and I do like double solar.
It sounds like
a
a band quest stuff.
Special fire thing. I jump into the dungeon, I get overwhelmed, I die. For starters, how many continues do you have, or can you just keep going until your equipment's broken? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so you
Yeah,
be
what
able to run it as many
deployments
times as
into-
you like until your soul is broken. But there is incentives for being more efficient. So we've adjusted a little bit, making like exploration more the focus than just deaths. Initially, it was just like if you die, you lose a reward. So like at the top of the screen, you'll see like there's a bar with like grayed out chests, and the more you explore, the more of those chests that you're going to unlock, up to 3. And then once you complete the entire expedition, there's going to be loot tables specifically to those chests.
Wasn't
So
that
you
how
want to
Tower
unlock those
Fantasy
chests.
worked?
Ideally, you want to get all 3 of them
If I remember
and
right.
complete the zone, and then you get everything that's inside of the dungeon, and those 3 bonus chests at the end. But if you die a bunch of times, then those chests will start to get X'd out. So you do
Okay.
want to find that balance between like, okay,
So they're
I'm
the
actually
problem,
able
man.
to do this dungeon. I'm not wasting resources because I'm able to do it in one shot. I'm able to explore everything, get those 3 chests, versus loading up something that's probably a little above where you should be in the game. You're able to squeak by and get through it, but you've lost out on all those 3 chests. Then it's just you've not used your resources 100% efficiently.
And the imbuements only get used up once you actually complete the dungeon, then, so you don't get penalized for dying.
No, so if you give up on the dungeon, then they get
Okay.
used, but they don't get
Okay.
used every time you respawn. So like there's going to be checkpoints throughout the dungeon that you
Yeah.
unlock that you can kind of
Yeah,
bounce
it's just a
around
van
between to
quest.
find nooks and crannies and secrets and all sorts of stuff. But
In
so
van
once
quest
you-
had a
You're-
baby
once
with
you
dot
you're
hat.
committed, basically.
You know?
It's like, yep, I'm using this thing, I'm running this dungeon, and I have to do it
Yep.
all the way, otherwise this resource is wasted.
Essentially, yeah. So it is a commitment once you go into that, but that's another reason why it is incentivized to party up with either random players or things, because only the party leader, whoever initiates the search, will use the resources. So you can kind of
literally just a
you can
bank
de
quest.
facto
You can split
trade that way.
resources, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like, hey, I don't have 2 solar, my buddy does. Let's make him party leader. He'll put that imbuement in. We get to do it together. It's his resources on the line, but we're stronger together, so we can get through it better with less risk, because there is reviving. So if you get down, you'll be able to revive your teammates, and that doesn't have a penalization. So
Okay.
yeah.
So long one pull
So,
daylight, be fine.
In that point, we were talking about just regular dungeons, right? The stuff that we're talking about, because you also brought up lost zones, or are lost zones the things that we're talking about?
So yeah, the lost zones are word for dungeons, just thematically. So yeah, the lost zones are dungeons. The opposite would be hunts. Hunts are essentially straight to a boss fight, and both of those can be edited by imbuements. The combination of imbuements makes the mutator. So if it ever gets confused,
And also, I think hunt can also be done in open world, maybe.
that you put in there.
I feel like
and
we
that can
saw that in
apply to
some
both,
trailer, if I remember
lost
right.
zones and hunts. The open world area is the open world area. You don't have a chance to manipulate that, because you're not actually going into a gloom bait or gloom rift.
So these are like your 3 main combat areas that you guys are really focused on. There's the open world area, which will have events and boss fights. Then there's these lost zones, which are basically dungeons. And then there's these hunts, which are bosses. Can you also find like maybe smaller bosses inside of dungeons, or are dungeons more about the trash mobs, or what's the deal?
Yeah, so trash mobs would make up the most of it, and then it's just exploring the tiles. There's going to be like puzzles in the tiles that you have to do. There's secrets in the tiles. Like the way we've actually designed the tiles is like not only will these get placed and you'll
He towered a
but they're
womb
also
pretty much.
rotated. So each, like the level design team does a really cool job of like every direction in which you would kind of go through a tile. You'll see stuff that you wouldn't necessarily see unless you backtracked or went through like a particular way. So you'll explore, like it really adds, it seems like a simple thing, but it really adds a level of just like making each one feel fresh. Even I've 800 hours in the game at this point, and like it still feels good going through dungeons, where I've felt other games where I go in there and it just feels like, okay, it's just the exact same thing over and over again. Like the way the tile system is set up, it really does feel fresh every time you're going in there. But there will be elite mobs and rare mobs that do spawn, and if you do find one of those, that'll be really sweet to kind of kill. And then there will be like a big kind of fight at the end, whether it's a mini boss or if it's just like a wave survival or whatever. There's going to be
The PSO2 will fine. PSO2 will totally
but you
fine.
can get, let's say, end-game quality loot on both of these experiences, on both Lost Zones as well as Hunts. And
you'll want to do both.
Loot. Yeah, you'll want to do both.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So like the events are probably the more things that you're going to be hunting, because like the events have a chance of spawning on a particular tile set, affected by whatever mutator they have equipped, and they will have either a guaranteed chance or a chance of dropping an item that you need for a crafting component. So and then particular lost zones will have a higher chance of those events spawning, or the only chance of those events spawning. And then hunts, you'll need a particular drop from a boss to complete an item. So each weapon will have, there's the recipe, and then there's 3 different components: the essence, the spirit.
So you'll always be expected to, for a single craft, you do a couple of dungeons, and then you do like a couple of hunts, and okay.
Yeah, it'll be a different combination for whatever you're looking to craft. But it'll be fairly clear, like, okay, I need to go fight a boss for this piece. Okay, I need to go run this lost zone to get this event to spawn to get this piece. You put all this together to make what you're looking for.
Sticking with loot, so we already talked about how you craft weapons and stuff like that, and you go and you hunt these different materials. Can you just find like a full-fledged weapon out in the world, or is that not a thing? Usually you're going to be crafting.
No. Yeah, so you can actually buy this. Initially, you could like craft the starter weapons, but that kind of felt bad because they're just the starter weapons. They're not that sexy. So you'll be able to buy the 4 main kind of starter weapons if you want. If you just want like the base 2-hander, the daggers, the rifle, or the sword and shield, you can buy any of those without crafting. So that'll just give you a direct weapon, but everything else has to be crafted. So, and again, going into the MTX thing, which I'm sure we'll do later, but those are craftable if you're a free player or a paid player. Like that's the exact same experience. Like you go, you fight the things, you get the things, you get to craft it. No crafting. You don't have to wait a day or 48 hours of real time
Well,
to make the weapon.
We'll
It'll be
talk
instant.
about that.
I am really
We'll talk
happy about that.
So
Because I
besides the
thought that
weapons,
and the house
what
that
other
will the
type of
timed
loot
up
can
were going to
you
be.
look forward to? Because I don't know if you're doing armor sets.
So
or
I'm
what
so
the deal
happy
is. I know
that
a
that's
lot
not the
about this game
case.
is going to be about skins because, like you said, it is a character game. So you're going to be doing a lot with skins because it is going to be free to play. But like, do we get to equip armor pieces, or are we doing like necklaces and rings so that you can change the rest with skins? What's the deal?
Yep. So you're going to have 3 accessory slots. So those are going to be more of like your rings, your trinkets, like other sort of actual slots that will give big boosts to stats, and that'll be expanded upon as well. And then those will have echo slots inside of them. I'd say the biggest kind of comparable to armor is going to be the echoes. So the echoes are really kind of the bread and butter of like how you're going to be crafting your build. So you're going to want to be fighting specific enemies to get a chance drop, and there's going to be different rarities of the
You hold
echoes
that
drop.
build
So like,
chat.
there's going to be common, uncommon, rare, epic. So you do want, ideally before you start investing in fusing echoes together, you want to get the best drop variety of the echo that you're looking for. So there's a huge variety of echoes that you're going to start collecting and slotting in, and you'll be able to slot between different armor sets and stuff like that. There isn't going to be your traditional chest piece, armor piece, leg piece, anything like that. All of that is going to be essentially cosmetic, but the weapons are going to level up. You're going to be able to temper them, and then you're going to increase like how many echo slots that you can put into there, and then swap those in and out. And then you're going to have consumables as well. So you'll be able to craft same process as like making a weapon or anything like that. You're going to go out, hunt particular things. You're going to make a consumable that has unique buffs based off of what you want to consume. You put that in your consumable slot.
And it's the same thing for your
so, yeah.
accessories, I would imagine. You
Yeah,
go out and
so
you craft stuff. Okay, so everything is about crafting, basically. Okay.
Yeah, you'll be able. There are merchants that you can buy accessories from. Some of them, but there is set bonuses to collecting a particular set of accessories. So ideally, you do want to get all 3 of them in the part of the same set, and then you get a bonus for that. So you will need to like one might be a drop, one might be a craftable, one might be a purchasable, or any combination of the 3. But there will be set bonuses for your accessory slots as well. So.
Okay.
I think that's, yep. But the main bread and butter is really going to be like, okay, what weapon do I want? How do I craft it? And then once you get the weapon, that's kind of a character in of itself.
Yep.
Because one, you can swap it between any of your characters at any time. So let's say you get a weapon, you level it all the way up to 30. That level 30 weapon will transfer to a level 1 Wayfinder. So you give yourself a huge power boost, and you're able to access content way faster on that second character. And like all those echo slots, that is self-contained within the weapon. So like the weapon is kind of a secondary character that you're leveling.
But weapons like
in tandem
decay up.
with your Wayfinder that you have equipped. And
You can be
that will
level
carry
1 with like
between
a
characters,
100
so that
level
power
and like
transfers.
decay up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you're playing a different character, you get the weapon that you already leveled up, and you get a boost. That's going to be particularly interesting for new seasons if you're playing like one of the new characters or something. Which kind of brings us over
Yeah, will
to
help
the,
a lot with the
business
replay
model.
value,
So
though.
describe what the business model is going to be for Wayfinder.
Okay, this is what I'm
So
interested in.
This is, again, for the Warframe players out there, it's going to be just very familiar. So this is the DEs, which one of the few games that I think is a free-to-play game that has survived. I mean, I think they've just passed their 10th year of being on the market, and like if you look at their Steam charts, it's actually just
Don't say that,
dips
Alex.
between seasons and stuff like that. But they've been at a steady rise for 10 freaking years, which is nuts. So that's the model that just makes sense for us. So it's free and fair. Anything that is gameplay related is going to be earnable for free players. Again, I'll jump in front of this. Yes, everybody is concerned about the pay to win and things like this. It absolutely is a power benefit to getting heroic Kairos. We get that. But we do, it's the same sort of thing with Excalibur Prime with Warframe. Like, ultimately,
Okay, so we're bluntly
small,
stating
and
that.
this is a
Okay.
very ambitious team, or ambitious project for the size of our team. We're really excited for it. We think it's going to be really successful, but we do want to give a special thank you to the people that are willing to throw out $150 is, if it's USD, it is regional pricing, but $150 essentially is not an inconsequential amount of money. So if people are willing to throw that out there as a show of faith,
Okay.
we want to give them something really special that is going to
That
be
is super
really valuable
unfortunate.
and sought after years to come. But we want to give something special that we're here at the foundation to really, you know, get this project off the ground.
So it's like the business model is essentially going to be I was more bringing it up to the tower.
I honestly was expecting, since I obviously haven't been able to touch the guy at all yet, I was expecting it to be not again, since they did state that it's actually a Keltor, not again, or a class. So I was expecting it honestly to be like more along the line, not more powerful. Just the Keltor with like some new animation, since he has like, you know, a different type of Keltor. Or the same like Keltor. I get silhouette. I get be the way to put it. Just with like different skins on him. So I was expecting it to be like, so they did state it wasn't he decent. I was betting it to be like, oh, like instead of like an overhead, he would do like a swipe or something, and be like, oh, like you do an overhead, it would do like some elemental damage, but you know the other character will do a side and do like poison or something. So I am super curious, which I hope they dive into that. My curiosity now is, in what way is he powerful? You know, is it more damage? Is it certain elementals? Do we have actual slots? Like, and since they did say he had the force of the heroic stuff, that means, or very heavily implying, that there will be one for every character moving forward. And we still don't know how we will get our hands on that, since obviously that wasn't tied to the Founder Pack stuff. So would the other ones be more like, you know, the version of the Battle Pack with towers? Or would that be like a separate purchase? You know, would it be like, oh, they kill to like 10, 20, 30, however much dollars? I have questions on that. Okay, I take it back. We got two things I'm not exactly happy about.
What are they called?
The reward tower?
The reward towers, but you're going to be
Yeah.
selling these reward towers, which are kind of like battle passes for people that are
Yep.
wondering. They're also going to have like a free track as well, right? These these things.
Yes.
So that's kind of like how you guys are going to be bringing in, you know, some revenue, because at the end of the day, people are like, oh, it's going to be a free to play game. Yeah, but you have to bring in revenue from somewhere. So it's going to be that, and it's going to be skins. And at launch, there's also going to be this heroic Kairos. I want to dive deeper into the heroic Kairos.
Yeah, please do.
But before we do, no, actually, yeah, let's dive into that heroic thing, because heroic has been kind of like during that stream, a lot of people were making the comparison to Prime Warframes, and it's like I played a decent chunk of Warframe in the beginning days, which is actually funny because back when I first played Warframe, I got like a code from some random website that was doing like closed beta giveaways or whatever. I signed up for a random account for that website, and they gave me a closed thing. And I was like, okay, let me check this out. And you could record, you could publish, because there wasn't an NDA. So I'm like, I record a little bit of gameplay, and I was like, man, there's so much potential in this game. Like, you're talking super early days. There was like 2 Warframes or something like that, or maybe 3. And super, super early days. And I remember people would watch my videos like, it's the same thing over and over again. This game's going to die.
Here we are, 10 years later.
When is it going to die? It's still alive somehow, and apparently pretty freaking successful. Now, when it comes to Warframe, I am known for telling communities, like, look, I don't agree with some of the stuff that Warframe does, like the fact that you can flat out, you just buy a weapon. You just buy a weapon, you just buy Prime Warframe, all of this stuff. I think that you are paying for power in the game. I don't think that that is a big controversial take. And here's the thing. I'm not against it, because it's a free-to-play game. You do whatever you want. It's like, if
buy it, they buy it.
somebody was paying, let's say, I don't know, $50 to play the game, and then you're selling them weapons, then I have a problem with it. But it's like, if it's a free-to-play game, you're selling them weapons.
Yeah, because honestly, it come down to the whole thing. Ideally, just don't buy it. I know that's not going to help at all, but, you know, in bad case scenario, that would be the bad case. Just don't buy it, send the method, and, you know, the dev will hopefully adapt.
And that's my business, but I will say this.
Really, chat? Really? Really? We really doing that? Okay.
How much is a penny?
Don't worry, Chad. I'm a cute cat for that now.
Heroic Pink Cat Ears TroyMaconn character available in special Founders Pack for $150.
And you can hit that wonderful donation button below the video if you're watching this on Twitch or in the comments or on YouTube. But bye now, Chad. It'll be gone in a week. But yeah, like, but just saying, like, don't buy it, not really gonna do much. Because, you know, there will be people that gonna just troll money to troll money. So it like, it just the question now is, like I said, my question is still like, in what way is it powerful, or is it gonna be like a, you know, come back on the 15th type of answer?
Hey,
Like
it's
it would
whatever.
see,
You
but
do whatever you
still.
want.
But yeah, I do agree at the end of the day, if they want to do it, they would do it. I don't like it, but obviously I'm not going to buy it, so, you know, I'm not going to support it in that way. You know, I thought like some of the other one, because like the Battle Pack, oh, not the Battle Pack, the like Founder Pack up, and like, you know, I do want support on that end. But like if they did future ones, which they kind of have teeth, like them, it would be like, nah, I'm good. Well, we get to a point where we can make that a wide-off. But realistically, it'd be like, no for future ones, all joking aside. But yeah. I think it's going to come down to exactly in what way is it powerful. Because if you think about it, any of it is more powerful, and if the quest is scaling, like what I was talking about earlier, then does it matter, you know? But if you're doing it like solo wise, like, because I guess that would be the big thing here, would be like if you're hunting monster in the open world and it's like in-game stuff, well, that could become the problem here, since there's no PvP to my knowledge, would be because we have all lived through Final Fantasy 11, either by playing it or by watching me and Mason play it, one or the other. But what like the biggest thing back in the day was with like Final Fantasy 11 was the more powerful you was, and also depending on your class and what ability you had unlocked, or if you were made, depending on what magic you have, that with certain cat time, when like bosses would spawn for like items, you know, you could pull it faster than everyone else because you're more powerful. You take that, move it into, say, like this, and let's say, you know, you're doing the Monster Hunter stuff in the open world, in-game stuff, so everybody at whatever cap they are. Would your ability be not exactly more powerful, but at least more faster? Or like animation time faster that would give you more of a heads up on point? That is where I could see that becoming a actual problem. But let's see.
You know, I'm concerned with this heroic thing because fundamentally you're going to have Kairos in the game, correct? Kairos is going to be a regular character, and then heroic Kairos is going to be factually more powerful.
Yep.
Are there going to be like heroic versions of other Wayfinders, like wingrave or whatever?
I wanted to ask that question if I got them for interview.
Yeah, so
they were one of the
we
question
will
I had.
have heroic versions of the other heroes available to anybody and everybody down the line.
Yeah.
So those won't be exclusive. The only one that is literally you can never get them again will be Kairos, and that's through the Exalted Founder Pack.
Yeah. But so how do you? What is your intention of how you grind for? Let's say I'm really into wingrave. I want to have heroic wingrave, which is going to be a more powerful version of wingrave. How do I go through the grind to do it? If you guys are even ready to talk about that.
I don't know. Like, I don't want to say. I have assumptions internally of how we're going to do it, and I think it's just going to be a more rare and more difficult kind of.
I want to know
get
how
there.
are they more powerful.
But we haven't planned any of them out yet. So I.
Yeah, Jimmy, that's what they're talking about right now. The only one is the one we saw during the event. But the rest of them moving forward will be buyable or farmable, and that's what they're talking about here. Are you having flat back to the Dreamcat? They'll see them. Because that kind of what it is a little bit. I'm still curious to see if they're gonna hold to that ideal of not bringing him back. You know, I feel like a year or 2 years down the line. Not once again, not saying they're going to here, but if like a year or 2 years down the line they brought him back, or if they did like a partnership with like Twitch Prime, where like how you get like random Warframe on Twitch Prime. If they stick him in there, I could see them doing something like that, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. So I'm kind of curious to see if they're actually going to stick to the guns on this or not, but we will see. But yeah, so it's a 6-month window if they don't bring him back.
I don't know. It's going to be up to the design team how we do that. But I do know they
which kind of sucks, especially if like that ends up being your main,
Wayfinder
is going to be heroic.
It is, 'cause you gotta pay $20 Elite to next year anyway.
Iris, just like Excalibur Prime. So I thought there was another point I thought I had in there.
Yes, I'll tell you what the other point is.
Stats and stuff. Yes, go for it. Please do.
It's the Enchanted Tower compass that you'll probably want to bring up as well, no?
Yeah, I mean, okay, that's one thing I do want to clarify.
Yeah.
Like, that is purely the reward tower. So that's
purely
just on, like...
I realized it because...
Welcome to Wayfinder, another mobile game for rags to riches.
Don't have people to see them. See them don't need any more people.
Characters, yeah.
I was like, the first time I heard, wait a minute, XP booster.
Like, the website doesn't do a great job either. It just shows like increased experience. And I'm like, oh no, everybody's gonna yell. Here come the pitchforks. But yeah, no.
Permanent XP increase, and I was like, whoa. And then you guys were clarifying in the stream, and I was like, most people won't hear that.
Yeah,
I know, and people won't hear this either, and they'll continue to get it for years to come. No, yeah, so I get that, but again, that's purely for the reward towers. Which,
I feel like in my video I did about it, I pointed that out, but I don't know how many people even see my video. So
there's generally 100 items that you're gonna get in the.
We want Baldur's Gate 3.
Don't you always see them? It's happening. It's happening within the next few days. 100%. Like I said, maybe while the server is breaking on the 15th, that might be what we would do. Beyond playing it before then.
The reward towers, 25 of those will be available to free players. And then if you get the premium ones, then you're going to have the opportunity to unlock all 100. And then the nice thing about it is it does not expire. So if you do have the 5%, it honestly doesn't matter. You just get access to it faster one way or another. Because even if you're a free player and you don't have that 5% bonus, like you can come back. It's
just 5%. Because I don't remember the specific.
Yeah, and I'm happy to dive into the specifics.
Okay.
I wanted to get those. I want the truth out there. I don't want to like hide from it or whatever. I just want to tell you.
Yeah, because like I just saw permanent XP boost, and I'm like, I don't know how much that is. It seems pretty freaking.
Yeah,
important.
I was questioning that myself during the event.
No, 5%. So
it's
5%
just 5% faster.
Tower.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's not even that much at all.
It's a boost. It's a nice thing.
Yeah.
Like if you there's like one exclusive weapon skin or something in the past, and that you want to get faster than everybody else.
Okay.
It'll give you that edge to get it.
I would do my bet out to get this out as well.
But is like, and how that system works is really.
I'm so
cool.
happy we got
And
percentages
right
now.
It's going to be kind of in its base phase where you get to see the whole map.
So yeah, what they are talking about here. Wait, Overwatch your stream? Overwatch on my stream? I don't know what you're talking about. On Steam. Oh yeah. It came out on Steam today. That happened today. So yeah, I don't know if you still need your phone number or not, but yeah, no longer the Fort Blizzard game to not be locked to Battle.net. So you can thank Microsoft for that, I guess. But yeah, pretty much what they talking about here, though, for anyone that might be just joining on this, is the 5% to $1 billion gain is for the battle pass, not for your character.
You get to see what all the little nodes are, the runes are.
I'm sorry, just one more thing before we dive into the tower. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But like the compass, is that something that people
Yeah,
are
we
only
keep it
gonna be able
over
to
the
get through
whole
the
with
150 founders pack? Okay, so you're not going to be able to buy that separately later.
Yeah, same with the tokens, which we haven't done. See, another whole bag of can of worms. But yeah, everything that's in the founders packs are exclusive to the founder packs.
Okay.
So include like Heroic Kairos is obviously the big one.
Yeah.
But everything in those, again, this is going to be a free to play game. So if people are willing to drop money to play an early version of the game, we want to give them something special. And that's what it boils down to essentially.
Yeah. But yeah, no, keep going about the tower, the reward tower
Yeah.
that you were going into.
So reward tower's really cool because one, it's not just the the traditional string and you get the cards, and as you level up you get the cards and like, ooh, a free one, ooh, this is a locked one, it looks way better. But the reward tower is really, you get like this entire kind of like isometric dungeon board game kind of setup, that there's branching paths and like all sorts of different kind of web matrix that you can get to the end of it, and then once you get to the end of it,
but the way
it'll open up a whole new one, and there's multiple.
What it seems like to be, once again, haven't met with it yet, but from what it seemed like, it literally, if you took the quip from the more recent, like Mortal Kombat 11, and you just make it top down. That kind of what it feels like, and instead of like walking it a board game, but like the same concept of like what the quip was in Mortal Kombat like 10, 11, 9. I think it was also a 9.
That's why it's the tower. There's multiple levels, and then once you get to the top of it, that's like where the really cool item is, whether it's like part for the newest character, or a pet that you get to have in the game with you, or cool emote or weapon skin or whatever it's going to be. But you get to sense of like all the options, and they're like, ooh, I really want this item over this item. You can go down the path to go collect that one, and then progress. And
you can see
an area, then come back to it later.
You can see all of the floors before you start committing to the path that you want to take.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Good.
You get to really get a sense of like, okay, what is the path I want to carve through to get these exclusive items? I don't really care about the others. You can go and do that.
And then you can go back and grab all of the things. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And you're getting, so when you're doing just quests, and there's going to be some quests that give more battle pass or reward tower experience than others, it's just kind of like another experience bar. So every time you fill that up, you get a key. With the key, you can open a room, you get the reward.
Can you buy the keys?
Yes, you can buy the keys. So if you want to progress through it quicker, you can just straight up purchase the keys.
Yeah.
Again, they are just cosmetic differences, so it's up to you if you want to do that.
I feel like a given, but good to have that verified.
You won't be able to purchase keys past, let's say you're at level 95. You wouldn't be able to buy more than 5 more keys. So once you have 100 keys, the whole place is complete. So it's going to restrict. You can't overstack keys, and keys don't transfer to the next season. So every reward tower is like its own isolated. There's 100 maximum keys that I can acquire. They're completely free to acquire via playing the gameplay, or if you want to purchase them.
So, but do free-to-play players get like 25 keys only? Because you said they only get to get 25 items, or how does that work?
So they'll be collecting keys, and I think they'll have to upgrade it at one point if they want to use the keys, but there will be rooms that they can access for free without having to use keys particularly. Or essentially it's the same way. I can't remember exactly if it's going to be like a premium locked room versus a normally locked room. But essentially, 25 of the items will be unlockable for free-to-play players. And then if you're a premium one, if you're like the paid version...
Oh, I thought it was any 25.
Unlock all the rooms.
How far you can get to 25.
Regardless if you're paid or if you're free. You'll just have to build a path through it as you level up.
The website kind of made it seem like it would be like...
And the part that I'm really excited for,
but only 25.
To explore a little bit more, which is completely unique to reward towers as far as I'm aware, is the secret kind of dungeons aspect of it that we're going to do. So like eventually there's going to be, as you're progressing the board, there's like, oh, there's a little torch on the wall. You interact with the torch. Oh, a whole new little branch that wasn't initially shown was there. So like players are eventually going to get these reward towers, and they're going to start discovering secrets, and they're going to start sharing secrets, and people are going to start like editing how they're going to go through the battle tasks or the reward tower.
You barely content will make videos on that.
But there's no
an image of itself. So
because you say the word dungeons, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, exclusive dungeons locked behind the reward? No, none of that, right? The reward tower.
No. So no, like think of the reward tower as its own unique little dungeon. So as you're progressing through the tower, you're going to find secrets inside of the reward tower, inside the battle pass itself, which I think would be a really cool way to experience it. And again, you have all the time in the world to go back.
That's one of the things that I wanted to give the team a lot of props, because one of the things that I hate about battle passes is that whole you know, you get this battle pass, you're committed to play this game at this exact timetable, and I friggin' hate that. I'm like, well, what if I don't want to play it right now? Or what if the game is telling me to do something that I don't feel like doing right now?
Oh, do you want one specific thing?
I have to play the game in this very specific way to do this very specific thing that the developer wants me to do, and I have to do it within this very specific time frame.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'll lose it forever. I spent money on this, and then I'm gonna lose it forever. So
Main reason
like
why I
the
don't do a
fact
lot
that
of
it's
battle
like,
pass
all right,
stuff.
just buy the battle pass, do it whenever you want.
Which is the
If
reason
you
I
like what's in the
appreciate
battle pass,
how
get it. If you don't,
Street
don't.
Fighter Leap put
It's like,
Arcade
I
at
like the
1.
freedom.
How much is a penny? 1 cent.
I'm going to bed now, Troy and chat. Enjoy your Wayfinder video.
Oh, I
And
will.
remember, can I have a key?
You hold CM, Alex. Have yourself a good night, CM. We'll catch you tomorrow, dude. Bet me to be doing all normal nightly gushing. But have yourself a good one, dude.
Of, I don't know, 2 years from now, I'm going to go grind that first battle pass that I never got around to doing. Like, I think that is a good thing.
No, that's
We might have
that's
more stuff to
100%
gush
what we
about
wanna do.
come
We wanna
tomorrow
respect
night
the
from this
players' time
interview.
there, and like it's good content too.
Propel,
Like,
be
eventually,
propel,
there
CM.
will be players that
But
will,
today,
like,
enjoy your
season
teapot.
4, they pick up the game for whatever reason. They have a ton of time, and they will blow through every piece of content that we have in that season. But now, like, oh, by the way, I have 4 other season passes that I can actually progress through while I'm waiting for the next season to come out. So like, we completely expect there's going to be a huge spike of like when the new season comes out, people are going to jump in, they're going to grind the heck through it, and then there's going to be a drop off. But the fact that we're going to have all these other battle passes or all these other reward towers that they can kind of work through, that's going to kind of
because they walk out the way they talking about.
Around past that first couple weeks.
At a
But I
good
seem to
chance.
remember in that live
To
stream
be
you
the
said
full
that
time
you
I will
can't
buy
the
every single battle
after
pass
the season ends.
and just
Yes,
dot pile
so
them.
you will have to, if you want to get access to it. That's like the FOMO reason, and like there's a lot of technical reasons too. From my understanding of actually like having that many SKUs on MTX stores and all the different platforms.
Yeah.
If we had all of them available at all times, things get really dicey.
But you will rotate them, or
Yes, yeah. So there's probably going to be a chance for the previous towers, like bundles and things like that. We don't know what they are yet. We don't have them planned out. But yeah, there's going to be a
That'd be
rotation
nice if
of,
that
like,
did
the previous
happen.
packs and availability, as far as I'm aware.
so even if you
So yeah, it'd be nice if like they did like a new player would come in like a year late or whatever. And instead of them missing out on it, just being like, hey, here you go, like $20-$30. Here at year 1, all the battle passes. Like that'd honestly quite nice, especially for like new player coming in late or down the line.
jump into the game
But
like
you
2
do-
years from now, there'll still be a chance to pick up earlier reward
Ideally.
towers at some point.
Yeah. We don't have anything that's exclusive there. Like the ones that are in the founder season are going to be exclusive to the founders. Like we're not going to release those again. But I 100% like there's going to be a best of towers or something like that we'll put on the store. But just technically, it's very difficult to just say, oh yeah, we're going to have an infinitely growing shopping cart of battle passes that you get. Which one, it's overwhelming. It doesn't really fit with like what we're trying to do with like the story building each season. But if you do purchase during that 3-month window at any point, like it's locked to your account, you can access it at any point in the future.
So these towers, they're also how you unlock new characters for each of the seasons, correct? I believe that they're connected somehow.
Yeah, so there are going to be nodes that have essentially one of the drops of a weapon or one of the drops of a Wayfinder inside the tower. So as you progress through it, there's going to be a room that has like a little gem of whatever character would be. So if you get to there, then you get one piece of the Wayfinder to craft. We haven't really flushed out the system 100% yet, but there is going to be an awakening system where you need to craft an
you got 2
awakening
weeks
stone
to flush
on
that
top
out.
of that. Yeah,
You
well,
got 2 weeks.
No, we got 6 months. 6 months, all the time in the world.
The early access
That
starts in 2 weeks.
Yeah, no, and don't worry, that build's already
Well,
done,
that's
so
at the
we're-
time when
okay.
it was interview were
No,
done.
but the awakening system is going to be closer to free-to-play launch, like when we fully roll that out. But that's how you're going to essentially over-level your characters. It's essentially like the prestige system, so you're going to have like, venomess. You get to level 30, you use an awakening stone, now it's a venomous asterisk mark, so it resets down to level 1, but like that ceiling, the total power ceiling is now increased. So in order to get really a character super leveled up, you're going to have to play the game a lot to do that. And like that's one thing that you can't pay for power in our store. You're never going to be able to pay for that experience or pay for like those levels or anything like that. In order to actually get your character to the maximum level, even if you bought a premium tower and you get access to a character immediately, in order to really power them up and get to that level 30, you're going to actually have to play the character, just like any other free-to-play character or free player would have to. So
Yeah, but I was when I was talking about unlocking, I'm talking about unlocking like new Wayfinders.
Mm-hmm. So there's not going to be any Wayfinders that are exclusive to the reward towers or anything like that. It's just like instead of having to go and fight the bosses and get the drops for it, there's an alternative path, which is going through the reward tower and getting those pieces as well. So you still need to get all of the pieces to put it together. So it's just a matter of if you're going to go through the reward tower aspect of it and collect those gems that could either work towards an awakening stone, or you're going to go fight the bosses, get the drops, do it through the normal loop. But either way, you're going to need to play the game and level up that character to level 30 to use the stone. So either way, you're still going to need to actually play the game to get that unlock.
I think either I'm confused.
What are we messed up?
It's like, so you said at the start, right? You pick one of the three Wayfinders.
Yeah.
So say I want to unlock another one. What do I have to do?
Yep. So if you were same as weapons, so
you go into dungeons and you get stuff and you just craft a new Wayfinder.
Yep.
Okay, and then the reward tower just limit breaks them, kind of.
No, there's going to be ways that you can get those awakening stones if you're a free player too. It's just like if you have excess of those resources. So
you just don't have to hunt
each
for them.
Wayfinder, there's 4 components that makes a Wayfinder. You get those either
You hunt for them, or you get
drops,
the item and then
from
make the
bosses,
character.
or there
Which
will
you
be
can
nodes,
target,
those,
like the weapons.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. So they'll be just exactly the same as weapons. It'll just like be pieces, like the fragmented soul of that Wayfinder, their echo, out in the world. You get those drops. You put them together through one of the main NPCs. It creates the Wayfinder. Now you just have them in your roster. You enter your menu at any point, and you can swap between the characters. Is how that works. So like you can either craft it through gameplay, which all free players are going to do, or if you have the reward tower and you get all those different nodes, then you can craft it that way as well. So it's just a different avenue for the same result.
So one of the things that bothered me particularly when it came to Warframe, since you guys have kind of like a similar system, was I remember I put a bunch of effort into crafting like a Rhino Warframe back in the day. So this really dates how long ago it was that I played Warframe, right? I was like all excited about crafting a Rhino. So I crafted my Rhino Warframe and I leveled him up to max, and then it's like, it felt to me like the game expected me, now you play another Warframe. I was like, well, I don't want it. I just want to play my Rhino. And it almost felt like I was getting penalized because then you don't get the mastery rank or whatever because you're not leveling up a frame. So is it your intention to do something similar to that? Or let's say I just want to play Wingrave and I just want to keep progressing all of the systems in the game by just playing Wingrave and nothing else. Like, what is the deal with that?
So short answer, I think we are going to incentivize playing multiple Wayfinders. Like, again, the collection aspect of it, you do want to get through all the way, like...
And also unlocking the weapon for your class.
I think it's more tied to... No, because you're still going to have, like, the class archetypes. And, like, there's going to be a mastery system where if you do level a class archetype compared to another class archetype, there's going to be just, like, an account-wide bonus that you're going to apply to your character before we even get into like the other systems that are coming down the pipes. So we are incentivizing players to play a variety of
So you're going to get bonuses for having mat level multiple.
You could 100% like get the full enjoyment out of the game, do all the content, just dedicating yourself to a single Wayfinder and never touching anybody else. Like, sure, maybe that theoretical maximum isn't as high as if you maxed out everything, but absolutely is possible. And if you were to focus on one Wayfinder and just do nothing but that one, the amount of progression that you can get just from leveling up your echoes, from leveling up the weapons, and then maybe you're just swapping out the weapons and leveling those up and powering those up, like that will keep you busy for many hundreds of hours probably. So like you're still doing that, and like all those echoes are technically like you just say, you know what, I am gonna try this new one that came out for the season. You pop that in there, all that progression that you were making on that one not Warframe, on that one Wayfinder, is it does you can swap it in and like basically overcharge like that new Wayfinder you're doing. So like they're all like independent branches of progression that you're able to be putting time into. So even if you like max out the theoretical max level, you've awakened them, you've leveled them up again. That one, that'll take you a lot of time. But once you get all there, then you have all these other branches, like whether it's the housing system and you're getting all these new trophies and like those are affecting your gameplay and your character, or you're trying to get a new mount, or you're trying to get a new, you know, cosmetic skin from fighting a certain challenge, or you're trying to get all this other stuff. Like there's going to be enough to keep players busy, even if they only just want to play one Wayfinder. Like it hits all the right spots. They're perfectly happy. Like there are going to be lots of other things that keep them busy on that one character. But theoretical maximum power level, you'd want to be doing a variety.
Yeah, if you want the best of the best.
Yeah, you'll want to do different ones. But you've touched upon something that I wasn't too familiar with, which is the thing that you said you can kind of like get with the asterisk after you level them up, and then you unlock something with the
I didn't the whole time they have talked about that
thing. So what's the awakening mechanic?
So that's that is essentially once you hit that maximum level. So once you hit the maximum
level is 30, I believe you said.
Yeah, right now for early access it's 30. That may change in the future.
Yeah.
That will absolutely
change.
Get to
level 30, like you're not getting experience anymore. That's when you're going to want to have the awakening stone to awaken them. Once they're awakened, then that's their quote unquote asterisk. They're not actually going to get an asterisk mark. But that's going to be like the awakened version of the Wayfinder, which is essentially it's the prestige +1 or whatever it's going to be. And then now they're going to have slightly higher stats than they would, you know, compared to the same level normal or base Wayfinder. So as you get those awakening stones, like then their power level, their maximum power level is increasing. So just like increases the total ceiling of just progression you can do with the certain Wayfinders, but that will reset you back down to 0. And in order to make that, you have to create the awakening stone, which is by collecting all the pieces of the Wayfinder, like if you're going to craft them.
Like we talked about at the start, it's like one of the big things about these types of games is going to be customization. In your game, these are going to be specific characters, like they're even named characters.
Yeah,
like
most of the customization
Pyros,
come
Silo,
into
whatever
the build you make.
What can people customize about them? Like we saw a couple of different things in the in the stream that you guys did. Like how do people have access to those things? Are they just cosmetics that you buy? Do free-to-play players have access to them as well?
So I think there's like two kind of ways you can look at customization. There's like the gameplay customization, and then there's the cosmetic customization.
Yeah, right now I'm going specifically into cosmetic because we already talked about like loot and crafting and all of these things. Those are gameplay, right?
Yeah, and there's probably a couple other ones.
Cool to get CM question after CM pass out.
For cosmetics, it's going to be so anything that is gameplay affecting is going to be earnable for free in characters. There are going to be exclusive cosmetics that are in the paid shop exclusively, and there are going to be ones that are exclusive to gameplay. So there's going to be both. So there's going to be ones that we want players to like, oh my god, did you see that guy's shoulder pads or whatever it was? How did he get those? Oh, you have to do this insane, you know, dungeon with these imbuements on it with this mutator system. And then you have a chance of getting that drop. So there's going to be cosmetics that are free exclusive. There's going to be cosmetics that are paid exclusive. And then each Wayfinder has a level, which I'm really excited. Like the die system is super freaking cool. So each piece of armor, so there's item sets and there's personas, two separate things. If it's an item set, you can literally mix and match all the different ones that you've collected. So you can have the chest piece of one item set with the shoulder pads of another item set with the helm and the legs of a separate one. Literally mix and match however you want. And then inside of each of those pieces that you're collecting, there are 4 different categories of dies that you can adjust to it. And then there's hundreds of dies that you're going to be able to unlock as well. So the dies, you can dye individual components of there. So not only are each, you know, shoulder pads or whatever, you know, either a set piece or whatever, you can actually dye like, okay, like the stripes inside of like the spike that are coming out, that's completely mapped to a certain dye that you're putting on it, or the spike is a different color, or the emissive, so like the glows that are coming out of it, you can customize those as well. So literally you can have two wingraves with the exact same armor sets on, but they could have completely different look just by how you're dyeing that. So we're not going to be releasing skins. It's just like, hey, by the way, it's this skin, but now it's pink, or it's blue, or purple, but you have to buy a whole new thing. Like, we're leaving that up to the player expression, like how they want to really customize. Like, a player really loves
Yeah, so just
black
the
and orange,
base,
they
and
can
then
make
you
it
just
black and orange,
do your own
all
thing.
of their armor sets, whatever they unlock. But the same person could make it, blue and teal, or whatever they want to do.
You can unlock at least some dyes through gameplay as well, I would imagine.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. So it's going to be the same system for both the physical 3D rendered pieces that you're going to be unlocking, as well as the dyes are going to be
so
a combination of both.
Basically
in-game or
basically the thing is for people that just want to play free, they'll get some stuff, and people that want to pay for additional cosmetic stuff, they can pay for that. I think that's fair. I think when it comes to cosmetics, I think it's fair, so long as not everything is in the store, right? It's important to also let free-to-play players get some stuff, in my opinion, because otherwise, if everything's in the store, then it's like, well, yeah, free-to-players are just everybody's default. That's it. And it makes it kind of boring. But yeah,
I agree. No, I completely agree. And you do want to, especially like mounts, and like that's what makes like the gameplay chase super exciting. Is like, World of Warcraft mounts, like that is ultimate, like in game, right? It's just like you want this one raid,
a whole
and have a
thing.
chance of dropping this really cool mount that you can show off to other players.
Same thing for
Like,
Final
we want
Fantasy
that
and
aspect
Triple
of things
Triad.
too. Like, we want some really cool things that players will collect a whole collection of, like, oh, I did all these different bosses and I got all these really cool, unique skill things that inspire other players. Like, how do you go do that? They look up how to do it. They talk with other players that figure out how to go, get that chase item. And they get to express themselves through cosmetics, because ultimately at the end of the day, like, cosmetics is a huge part of endgame, right? You're just you're trying to show off to other players and show off how badass.
I wish it still was all like
and,
in
while we're
game,
on the
but
topic of cosmetics, so
that
you guys
time
have
is
a
long
housing
gone,
system
though.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is that going to be something that free-to-play players are going to be able to participate significantly in, or is it going to be more something like for paid players? So, like, for instance, in a game like, I believe, ESO, there's like all this housing system, but it's mostly for people that want to actually put some money on it. Whereas if you're playing free, the housing system is just like, it's kind of harder to get around.
So it's again, it's always a tricky balance to say and then actually make a reality. So hopefully we find a good balance, and again, that's a big part of just the open communication between development and the community. It's like, we'll be listening. But yeah, no, ideally it is going to be, a really important system and a progression system for free players in addition to paid players. So especially once we get the neighborhood elements of it, and there's going to be like objects that you can place that will be like a collective quest that everybody in your neighborhood is working towards to get a special bonus.
I'm so interested in the
also just,
neighborhood
like,
stuff.
putting in an artifact in a friend's artifact slot that gives them a special bonus, and kind of like
Especially coming out
trading,
14.
Group bonuses based off of like that social aspect of things. But anything that is, so there's artifacts and trophies, those have tangible in-game effects. So like, you can go in there, let's say you get the trickster chest, for instance. Like, a trickster chest is like an event that is kind of a chaos jester, so to speak, that pops up randomly through your adventures, and he will drop chests, and you use a key, and you have a chance of actually unlocking the treasure that's inside of it. So like, you'll have a chance of getting the trickster chest that you can put into your house, and if you have a key, you get to unlock it, and you automatically get that reward once a day. So it's like a 24-hour.
Yeah, so you don't have to hunt him down. That is interesting.
Those types of items, all players will have access to. So if it affects gameplay, all players will be able to get that, put that into their house, and that will have tangible benefits to their character. If it's just purely a cosmetic thing, it's like, I really like this fern or something, like that could be exclusive to a paid shop. So there will be like decorative items that are exclusive to the paid options, but anything that is gameplay affecting, and honestly like an important part of like giving your character an overall bonus. So like, the one I gave was an example of a trophy, but artifacts are going to be ones that are like player-based passive bonuses. So like, you kill a boss, you get a chance of dropping this item that you can put in your house that's interactable and has cool VFX and stuff like that. That will give you, you'll literally, the bigger your house, the more capacity that you can put these artifacts in, and that will give you, like, you know, the one for the Grand Deceiver I think I showed up on stream gives you 10% more gold drop on your runs. So like that's a tangible benefit that you get to your gameplay and your character.
So pretty much like the
all
tree
players will have
system in
access to that as well.
PSO2
So, like, it'll
kind
be
of.
more like unique drops that you can get from the world that you can actually power up your character, and if you're a free player you have access to that as well. But yes, eventually we're going to have neighborhoods, which it's literally just like plots of land that you buy, and you have a bunch of social systems, and people can interact and go into each other's housings, interact with like the things that you put in those housing to get benefits. So like you do that aspect of it.
A little
guild
similar to
housing,
14,
the
which is
guilds
what
will
we kind
have,
of
very
affected.
specific items that they can put in their guild neighborhoods to work together and get like special bonuses, kind of like the Onyxia head or whatever. So if you get like that in your neighborhood, your guild neighborhood, you'll have like a overall benefit. So we want that to be like a whole other just branch of progression that you can
Jesus, like that's way more complex than I was expecting. I was like, oh, neighborhoods, they'll just let people put houses together. It's like, no. So you need to buy.
Steve is excited, and Elise they're doing some cool stuff. We have like literally, that's like an entire department is working on housing for the game.
So the early, is it going to be like in the early access that we're getting on the 15th of August? The housing, I mean, just a basic version of housing.
Basic version, yeah. So the early access version is literally you're going to get like your room at the inn in housing, and that's the one that you saw the showcase. It's a very small space, has very low like artifact. You'll be able to swap in and out like the artifacts that you have in there, but I think you get like a maximum of 10 capacity.
I'm kind of curious to know, like,
So basically,
I'm kind of curious about like the neighborhood housing getting bonuses and stuff. I'm wondering if like the stuff you put in your house is the stuff that would be, obviously like the more simple like little tree stuff in like PSO2, and then the stuff you put out in the open be more like the actual tree or like the mag system that would, like, everybody in the neighborhood will be affected type of deal. Or is it going to be one of them cases of you're going to have like you want to build like this shrine. You need 100 of this item, 200 of that item, 300 of this item, whatever it might be. And then everybody could go out and farm them item and just kind of dump it in. And then once it hit like all the amount, it just make that item. And then that item will give you all the effects in your town. I wonder how that can operate.
Put 2 artifacts in at a point. You get 2 passive bonuses. And then you get, that footprint to, put items into. Eventually there will be, even before we get to the neighborhoods, there's going to be bigger housing that you can get.
Which is going to cost,
to.
The currency is going to be gold for that, I'm hoping, right? In-game gold or something? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So, I don't know if I haven't heard of any plans. I'm sure there will be, again, free-to-play model. We're going to need to have ways of getting monetization. So like I'm sure there will be a faster way to get the next housing through the paid shop. But again, it will have gameplay inputs, so it will be free and fair. Free players will have the same opportunity to get the same things. It just will take gameplay versus their wallets. So
just feed into progress.
Eventually, you want to do neighborhoods. You said buy a plot of land. I'm assuming that because that stuff is not really set in stone, you guys are still figuring that stuff out.
Yeah, there's a lot of tech that goes into it. So, I mean, we have a lot of things that we wanted to do, right? And that's always the risk. It's just like, okay, they're saying they're going to do all this cool stuff. Are they going to do it? So, I mean, it's on the docket. It's in the production schedule. We're working towards it, but we have to prioritize what we're working on and when we're doing it. So, I mean, we've been fleshing out the gameplay. We've been working on that a lot. There's going to be balance changes because you can't really figure out a balance until you get hundreds of thousands of players playing it for, thousands of hours. So, like, that is going to be a big part of early access, is just finding out, okay, what weapons are broken, what Wayfinders are broken, what abilities are broken.
Hey, but it takes 6 months to get to the neighborhood, whatever, man.
Fair and fun, exciting.
Make sure it may come out good.
Whoever you want to play and making those choices meaningful.
And be honest about the process. Like, it sounds like they all right now.
So, any feature you add to the game takes development time. It takes resources.
That's the big thing.
Whatever.
That is like probably the big thing, honestly, here, which I do appreciate. Like how Alad talking about the house stuff. Because the biggest thing, at least for me anyway, is not that whatever might take however long. Like, oh, I want it now, but it's gonna be 6 months. I don't care. The biggest thing for me is communication on it. So, like, if you know for a fact some version of it going to exist eventually, at that point, like, especially if you start getting into, like, what we're talking about here, like, all the other stuff, but you're going to take time, it might not work out, it could change, nothing ever set in stone, especially for any, like, MMO light type stuff. So the biggest thing here is take it longer you need and be, like, as upfront and honest of the situation at hand to the best of your ability. Along that it done, I'm happy, I'm a happy camper. And then if it's like, if something like come down the line production wise that is like a big thing, but silence and you don't want to show anything about it yet, cause you want to be a surprise or like a year and a half, whatever out. Just make sure you're on it with stuff you could be on it with, that might be smaller scale or whatever. Because at the end of the day, this all comes down to just straight up communication, which I do appreciate as of right now how Alex is being about it. So, like any of certain things that talked about here never happens, along as they, appoint it as they go, would be ideal. Unlike, once again, I'm using PSO as an example a lot here because I know all of you know what PSO is. You all play it or you just deal with me playing it, whichever. But it's like I've complained about all the time. There was still stuff that were bluntly said were going to happen, like before NGX came out, and then never did, never got talked about ever again. And like, so it always that like loop hanging, like thread of like, is it something? Is it not? Is it mid-translation? What happened? It always leave it up in the air. So good, bad, or whatever it might be, do what you got to do, but be honest and as blunt as can be about it, especially if you ain't gonna talk about it at all publicly, like the neighborhood. So I do appreciate this.
Might be so like there's certain things that we feel are more important, like we really want to expand the scope of the actual footprint of the game as quickly as possible. So like making those new open world areas, making those mount systems available, making the new characters, the new wayfinders, the new weapons, like all of those are just going to be really big meat and potatoes. And like the smaller new systems that we're adding on, like yes, they're important to us, but it's just like, what is more important?
I'm asking about housing mostly for the people that care, because like I don't care about housing at all.
We're hopefully gonna make you care about housing. Like if we're doing our job right, you're gonna care about it. So we'll see.
For instance, that's something that you'll hear a lot of people going on in 14, because it's limited space in terms of housing, and it's a big deal for everybody to have. At one point, I had a free company, and a good friend of mine went in and bought us like a plot so that we could have a house. And I was like, I don't care about any of this. I really don't.
And then they stopped playing and lost
decorating, and I was like, this is great. It's a cool place for us to hang out with. I still don't care. We could just as easily be hanging out in the middle of town. It doesn't make any difference. But I
personally,
I want to know if there
I
was
resonate
a
with
time
you
like
a
that.
little bit more. But what excites me is like thinking of the social like
that's the
interaction that
thing.
you get, and like the gameplay elements of like interacting in that social aspect of it, and then also just like collecting the artifacts and like showing off people getting to your house and like, how the hell did you get that artifact? And like that aspect of it.
Yeah, the black and white tail is nice.
And the thing about it is also, even though for me it's not like a super exciting feature,
especially depending on how easy it is to visit.
There's no way that anybody can not recognize how important it is, because I do think that it is a crux feature, like a really core important for the community aspect. Like you're talking about people are doing friggin' nightclubs in 14. They're straight up having nightclub parties and like all these crazy things.
Yeah, it's
At
a
one
big
point, I went
thing.
into a place where they were doing like this tea house role play, and it's just like, what is going? This is so. It's really cool. It's really cool.
People experience, that's the beauty of social games like this. It's just like you'll never think of like how people are actually going to interact with the medium.
And hopefully, unlike Sega, they won't stop banning.
Give them the tools, basically.
The tools to do whatever the heck they want to do, and like that'll be awesome.
So one of the things that I even brought up during your stream is like, I think one of the most important things about even early access housing is other players need to be able to go to your house. Is that something that's going to be on from the beginning? Okay. That's very important.
Yes, and I think that'll be on like from the beginning as well.
I want to know
Don't
how
quote me on
you're
that,
gonna
might
do it
take a
or
couple
find
weeks, but,
it,
like,
or
that's pretty close. We've
you
already
know.
been able to do that like in our test build.
Because
or is it just
I-
like
I think
plans?
the big thing is
Or
like,
just right
oh, I
click on
found this
people?
cool item. I need to show my friend. I got to brag about this really cool item that I found. And then there's going to be people that also will want to do like role play stuff and whatnot. How many people can be inside a house instance?
I think it's still like the party limit of 3. Again, that whole social aspect will expand as we get into like neighborhoods, and that will just be like you'll be able to go there if they're in your friends list and that sort of thing. Like right now, it'll be like, okay, you're in a party together. We go to the door. We can choose whose house we go into.
See,
sort of deal.
If there's one feedback that I can give you guys in regards to that, you need to up that number to like 10. Like as early, because here's the thing: if you're trying to set up
100%
like,
agree.
this type of social engagement with the housing system or whatnot, even more important than having like all of
You
these
need enough
housings
faithful
and neighborhoods,
randoms.
you just need to have more people in the same place. You need to be able to have more
Yeah.
people in the same place. Because again, it's
I'll
not a
tell
feature that I
people
use,
today
but I
when I
think
go
it's
in.
that will probably be one of the important things.
I will tell Steve as soon as I get in the office today, like, how many people were you allowed in housing? Up that number. Those are rookie numbers.
There's a rookie
Yeah, how
numbers.
many is in PSO?
Give the
32,
people
right?
more.
I think
So
it is.
One of the things that I'm
Which
also
shouldn't be that hard, like tech-wise. Like,
yeah, I can
it's
imagine
its
it's a
own little
small
instance,
it's a
so-
small instance, so it can't be too hard, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
it'll be, especially that first apartment, it's gonna get hot and sweaty real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
People are gonna be doing some nightclubs and everybody's
like,
just like
"Oh,
clipping
this is
through
such
each
a-
other.
This is such a cool room. Oh my god, I can sort of see it over that guy's shoulder.
Is there actually that is there a player collision? I didn't even ask this.
There's like minor collision, so
Okay.
you can like you're not gonna get blocked by a player. You can move.
But
through
you're also
them.
not gonna be
But if
clipping all
if-
over.
Yeah, but if you do get a friend that is AFK for too long in town, you can sort of like push
Nudge
into
him?
them and like their character. Yeah, you
Oh,
can
this
nudge
is
them off cliffs and
good.
whatnot. Yeah,
So just like PSO like
there's gonna
that.
be a lot of that happening.
The question
You're
is,
gonna
will
have a
they
group
like
of
snap
people
back
just,
or
like,
not?
doing AFK police in town and just like pushing people off cliffs. I'm sure will happen.
Yes, this
Yeah.
is an important system.
I want to
So,
know if
do
they're
you
gonna
think
snap
that with
back
the
or
engine
not.
that you guys got going right now for the game, that you are going to be able to quickly do changes? Because one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of live service games is that some teams have a tendency to underestimate the importance of having an engine that is malleable. Like I feel like a good recent example of that would be Anthem. Like I know a lot of people they like to crap on Anthem. Personally, I really like the gameplay, but the game engine that they were using was very unwieldy. Like they specifically said at one point, in order to like move a rock from one place to another, they'd need to do like a 100 gigabyte download on the client side. And I was like, okay, there's a problem there.
Jeez.
Right. So it's like, is the team working with the engine already to be able to be like, okay, this is, if we need to do a quick change, this will be super easy, not a problem? It's maybe a
Theoretically,
very
yes.
specific question.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm sure a programmer is gonna like listen to this and like, Alex, what the do you just say? So this is a lot of work, but it's on Unreal, so we're using Unreal 4. We do have plans on migrating to Unreal 5, and I think that'll help. So people are super excited for just like Lumen and some of the other tools that you get in there, and same with optimization. I think on Unreal 5 opens a lot as far as like optimization goes. So don't have an exact timeline on that transition and what's going to take with it. But as far as Unreal 4 goes, like, and how the development process works is essentially like we want to be essentially working 2 seasons in the future. So we're going to have the game that's released. We already have
So it's it
the
much
next
chunks,
season,
huh?
like pretty much baked ready in the pipeline, that we're just like, we have QA testing and finding like little bugs and things like that, fixing that. And now we're already working, the season 2 seasons ahead of that we're building in and baking stuff.
So ideally, kind of like the
It's
Call
gonna
of
be
Duty
basically
type of
just like,
development.
okay, season's finished. Pop the one that's already ready. We're going to start working on the one that's 2 seasons down the way. Put the other one into the pipeline and working on them. And we have like dedicated teams, like
Being able to trade up all literally how Call of Duty it produces.
But right
Technically.
now, like even at the early access, is going to be like the bumpiest rock road for that. Like we're already working on that stuff. So like it's going to be, hopefully as the team continues to hopefully grow and expand and get more resources to work on that stuff, we'll be able to do it. But it's all within Unreal Engine, putting blue
Oh god, everything breaking. Okay, we good.
You know, each of the different teams has basically
Thought my
very
internet died for a second.
specific goals. Like, okay, on level design, this is like the events team. They're building their own little cool little event that we can literally just copy that blueprint, put it into, you know, the level and the tiles that are being made, and put all the effects of that. And it's basically just kind of a copy paste. Once like the systems are built, you can just pop it in and say like, okay, when does this trigger? When does it happen? What are the rewards? And tie all those pieces together. So yeah, I mean, can't say I'm not the engineer. I can't say. I don't want to get yelled at when I go into the office. But
we'll have to see. And
we're building in a way that is scalable. Like that's the idea.
And also,
But you're good.
I think it's important for everybody listening to always like take some of this stuff with a grain of salt, because you know things are in flux. The game isn't even out yet. So it's like, let's try not to hold the team here to be like, no, you said this thing, because that's how you kind of assure that teams are not comfortable speaking to anyone, because like, oh no, you said this one thing that one time in that podcast, and it's like, yeah, things change. But
reality is reality, unfortunately. Yeah. But again, we're pretty happy with what we're doing. Like, yes, we've had a couple delays, but like honestly, in the grand scheme of things, especially what's been happening in the last few years,
I wasn't even aware you guys had delays.
Yeah, I mean, when we announced back in
December.
God, is November, December, something like that.
It's December because that's the Game Awards. Yeah.
Yeah, December. I think I started in November, so I came on like a month before we announced. But yeah, so back in December, we said it was going to be the late 2023, and now we're looking early, like first couple months of 2024. I think February's probably again. Internet,
yeah,
hold me to it. But that's what we're looking at right now is February of 2024. So I mean, 2 months delay after going through all this testing. We've added, I don't know how many systems that we've actually added that weren't on the docket purely because of the feedback we got during those testing periods. So like air dashing fundamentally changed the game.
Oh yeah,
I heard that was like a bug initially.
Yeah, they needed that.
There's another one too, which I am praying we get to keep. People love it, but it does again. It stretches.
It breaks the game.
It breaks a lot of stuff. You can access areas that you're not supposed to. You can just like bypass traps and all sorts of stuff. But it's so much fun. But anyway, yeah, so air dashing is basically like our compromise of that. So when you jump, you can dash in the air versus like you just do your double jumps, which double jump by itself makes level design a nightmare. But
I
now
can
when
imagine.
you have a double jump with a dash, you can get to all sorts of places that you're not supposed to, which I love to do. That's like my probably
like
role within the company in QA is
a mini game in and of itself. I feel like
Well,
a lot
get
of
my own
times,
Skyrim
teams
now.
do
It's
have
like
a tendency to underestimate how important traversal is, and how it just feels good for players if they're able to do things that are just like crazy, like, oh, I can go over here and do this thing, and I can explore this area and do all these crazy things just through traversal, as opposed to just, oh no, you can walk, you can run, you can jump every now and then. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of basic.
I know I'm gonna get yelled at by Ron when I mention this, but one like perfect example of that, we were doing a server stress test during the closed beta, and there was an exploit that I had found like in town where if you jump on this cog, like this turning wheel, and then you get a perfect time, because like if you did it too soon, like you'd bounce off and it would reject you, but if you timed it just right, you could jump, and then you could dash to like this nether little ledge, just like a toe off, and you could get on top of another one, and then you could literally go out, like the world boxes are huge. Oh, way out of bounds.
No.
And like you go on this freaking journey, and it was this pilgrimage, we called it. So I gathered a bunch of players that are like in the closed beta test as well. We all jumped on this cog.
Nice.
We all like eventually, it took like 30 minutes for everybody to get up on top of it. And we were all just like making jokes, doing emotes, like eating popcorn. Like I was there all like failing and getting to this jump. They eventually got in. We had like a group of like 10 or 15 of us. We all like,
My God.
Anyway, we all like traversed outside of the map, but you could barely see like the town in like the far distance.
Yeah, honestly, chat. Oh my God, this is like these types of stories, like such like the good WoW stuff. Just being like, oh yeah, we found that bug. Let's teach the community how to do that bug. Like, you know, because we have seen it. We have seen this in like Sega when stuff like that happen, and it'd be like, nah, we banning all them players. Like, But as a, you know, PR person, community manager type, like actually like making this a activity. Okay, this is cute.
Distance, and I'm talking like Halo 2 map exploit days of like you're doing like the Banshee rocket jumps and you're
Oh, you
being
picked my
jumps
language
and
now,
whatnot,
Alex.
which I loved. Anyway, so we go all the way up here. They're like these huge mountains way in the distance, and then like you get on top of the mountains, and like you had to time this double jump perfectly so you could do these huge gaps.
you'd fall through the
like
world?
the leap of faith. There was definitely areas you could fall through the world, and I don't know why we have collision as far out as we do, but we did, and it was amazing. And we go all the way to like the peak of this mountain where you could just see the entire town, like the entire skybox, and like all the fake mountains like way back in the distance as well. And we just did like literally 45 minutes of just like a long jump competition utilizing that glitch I was talking about.
Oh, God.
Where you just like, you're on top of the mountain, no gameplay at all. We're all just like doing the server stress test out in the middle of the freaking God knows where everything looks horrible.
I wonder
because,
they're
like, low
gonna
quality, long distance
like
stuff, you're not
do
supposed
any
to be out
in-depth
there.
like
But we're just doing, like,
platforming
this long
stuff.
jump
I know
competition,
they have it
see
like a
who can
little
actually,
bit,
like,
but
tweak the exploit just
I
long
wonder if
enough
we're
to
gonna
get
do
the,
anything like
an
super
extra
crazy
inch.
with
Everyone's
it.
doing that like in Discord, laughing and having a great time. But yeah, no, it's a huge component of the game. Is just like build the world, give players tools to
Yeah.
do with it. Like, because you put that on paper, it's like, oh, we're gonna have this great game where people can wander off into the middle of nowhere and jump. Like, that sounds fun, right? But actually, it was so fun. Like, we literally, so if you ever see cog, like the little cog symbol like showing up in chat, or like in the Discord people saying
That's what they're
cog or
talking about.
coggers and stuff like it, it was because like we literally just developed a cog. So this is incognito. You have to find a member in a church, and maybe they'll take you on a pilgrimage of what I just described. And you go on top of this mountain, which we
I
named
wonder what
Cog
it's doing in the
Mountain.
game.
And there you have to go through the forest of obscurity because like the low pixel, you can't see shit through it. And you have to like hope you don't fall through the map. And you have to do the leap of faith. You get to the top of Cog Mountain, you get to see everything. You finally become indoctrinated into the member of Incognito. And it is all because of that stupid cog that people are trying to.
Oh my god. This is what I want now. I want them to take that concept, make it in the game, but obviously not being like out of bounds stuff. But make something that like weapons are like pretty much we produce this in a non-game breaking way. And then literally have this as like a secret achievement. Get on that. Get on that L ship.
Trying to jump on in the beginning of it, but no, I made an entire cult and like.
Or
literally-
like a title or something.
Talk to me the next day, like, what the hell did you do?
What were you
It's
doing?
like everybody was like yelling cog and like, what is cog? Like, oh, sorry, made a cult accidentally last night. It was great. It was
Yeah,
great.
see, I don't want to be your boss. This is but it is fun. Like players have a tendency to like want to go to places that they're not allowed.
I thought it
to.
adorable.
Like, one of the games that, in my opinion, had some of the best exploration I've ever done is like this game called Xenoblade Chronicles X, because what the developers did is to make the traversal really fun. They just let your characters jump freakishly high. So you'll be able to just go like, bounce. Like, it's properly animated. It's not like funky or anything, but like you'll be able to just jump really high. So then I'd be going into areas where I'd be like, I don't know, level 20, and the monsters in there would be like level 80. So I'd be fully just darting around aggro ranges, and then, oh, there's a mushroom over there, and then jump on this mushroom, jump on this other.
Yep.
Just go completely the place that you're not supposed to be in. And I think that that's a good fantasy to have. Not necessarily like exploit stuff and go out of bounds or whatever, but just be able to go to places you're not supposed to be in. And developers kind of like thinking about that, I think, is cool.
Yeah, no, and I'm a huge proponent of that. Where we do, like, our art team, rightfully so, is very particular. So if like we're showing stuff that just isn't presented like the beautiful way that they've renditioned in their mind, they're like, nope, we gotta go. Which I get.
Yeah.
We definitely don't want to break that immersion factor of like, okay, this is a whole world,
Yeah.
and like, okay, that's obviously just.
I said
Nobody
we
thought
then
you'd
like
see
build
something
it
from that
in
angle,
universe
invisible walls and whatnot.
to kind of weapons
So
in
like,
it.
there is that balance to strike, but like I'm all for, and I'm going to continue to push. Like I find all the stupid, crazy platforming puzzles essentially you make out of it, and like it'd be super cool if like you go there and there's just like an Easter egg, you know,
Yeah.
like,
And I think,
scroll or little thing.
and I think that
that
100%.
that type of stuff like jumping puzzles and whatnot is something that you guys can kind of lean in if you have like double jump and air dash and all of that. Like there's a lot of games that do these types of jumping
That Final
puzzles.
Fantasy doesn't. They don't even
14,
have
you got
that.
the Kugane Tower, and in Guild Wars you have like God knows how many different jumping puzzles. So that's definitely something that the community kind of like leans in on. So it's cool. But earlier You were talking about like we were talking about systems that affect the gameplay. We talked about the crafting. We talked about all this stuff, and then we talked about cosmetics. And you said, "But there's more." So I want to pull back on that thread. What do you mean there's more?
Okay, what didn't we cover? So definitely progression systems. You have your main character, the leveling up your character, getting skill points, putting those into your certain abilities, and leveling those. That's one progression tower. Getting your weapon, leveling your weapon up, and getting the maximum like slots that you can get. That's another progression. Your housing, leveling up your housing, getting all the little gameplay effects, the trophies, your artifacts. That's another progression tower. You're gonna have the
you go into
the
chat
two systems. So
for
we're gonna have
questions
the
that we
mastery
will.
system, which was what you're talking about, which you don't like necessarily having to play multiple different types of archetypes. So you have your war master, you have your architect, you have your survivalist. Those are like your three opening archetypes, like character archetypes that will have character-wide bonuses that you have different abilities that unlock depending on how leveled up you've had that type of archetype. So Wingrave is a War Master, Senja is also a War Master. So if you're playing either of those characters, you'll get another progression bar that will unlock different abilities that you can turn on, which will be passive across all of your characters. Same for Archivist and Survivalist, and there may be more in the future.
So even like playing let's say I'm playing Wingrave, and then I'll play Silo, which I'm assuming is different type of. So I'll get passive benefits from Silo that will benefit Wingrave.
If you level the other one up, so that's why it's like when you were saying like if I just want to solo focus on one, you're technically missing out on some potential. It might not be what you want to do anyway, so that's fine.
Yeah.
But there could be more customization.
There could be synergies there.
If you leveled up, exactly. And you can always swap those ones. You can just like freely swap out anytime. So like, oh, you know what would give me the edge for this party composition? Let me swap this passive, and you'd be able to do that. But we are working into the.
Do those passives?
There's two other systems we're doing. So.
Do those passives will also, like, say for instance, I have my Wingrave, and that's the one that I unlock and awaken and all of these things. If you awaken one of the other ones, like Silo, do you still get new passives after the awakening, or do you unlock all of the passives up to level 30?
So that would have been that system will be independent. So that will be basically because it could be multiple Wayfinders that fall within that archetype. So if it's a survivalist, which I think Venomous is also a survivalist.
Yeah.
So if you level either of those characters up, you could get one to level 1 and one to level 30. Like if you level that mastery system all the way up, that will be permanently unlocked for all your characters. It won't get reset.
But you don't.
Nice.
But you don't need to awaken it to get the full benefit of that. Okay.
No, so that'll be like a separate system. Who knows? We might add like another layer of depth to that down the line. But initially, that's going to be a separate system that lives on its own. And then when you level up or awaken your Wayfinder, that'll be that progression system that you're kind of resetting and increasing the ceiling for. But then we're also opening up the armory system, which we're not ready to talk about, as well as one other system, which is going to be closer to like actual replacing skills and slotting in new skills for characters that will be kind of account bound. So that's going to be a whole new system that we're not ready to talk about yet, but that will be people's concerns about only having 4 abilities per character. Hopefully will get addressed with that system as well. So
and those 4 skills, you don't choose them. These are just like, no, this character has these 4 skills. It's not this character has 7 skills and you pick 4.
So that's actually another place that we changed based off of community feedback. So initially it was you have your 4 skills, 3 skills that you unlock, and then 1 that's more like the ultimate. And then you also have a passive for each character, and then you have the weapon ability. But for those 4 skills, there's 3 pips that you can unlock, and they'll make it more powerful and kind of change up how you use those skills. And you get points, and you won't get enough points to max all of them out, so you do have to choose which and where you want to put them. Yep. So you can have, again, 2 Wingraves that have very different skills based off of where you associate those points. But
it's the same 4 skills. It's just like that I'll have like the Shield of Righteous that's more powerful than the other one who's got the Bulwark of Judgment or something. Yeah.
Exactly. Like one with Kairos is interesting. Like if you max out the pips for his Rake ability, it will actually give you lifesteal versus like if you associate with
also it changes
like you're
it changes the
your ability power.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like there are differences. Like fundamentally to how the abilities will work in a team dynamic.
Okay, that's
depending on where you associate those points, which is cool. But initially, it was just like, okay, you're level 1, you're going to get access to this ability. You lit level 5, you get access to this ability. You get level 10, you get access to this ability. That was a little bit restrictive from community feedback that we got from like the closed beta test. So now players have the ability to choose. Like once you level up, you hit a certain threshold, you get to choose what ability that you get next,
And can
versus
you,
like it being a linear path.
Can you change that whenever you want, or is that like going to involve some kind of gold cost or something to respec?
So the respec system for the skill points will be it will be probably like a gold, just to kind of reduce inflation. Gold inflation is not going to be a paid currency like real money. It'll just be in-game currency.
Gotta get money out of the economy.
The skills that
That
you
is
unlock,
equally
once
as
you hit those
important.
thresholds, they'll be permanently unlocked. So like let's say you hit level 30, you have all of your abilities. Like if you did a reset, you have all your abilities still. You just have to reassociate the 7 points that you want to put them into, whatever it would be. So
okay.
But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other progression systems that would be in the game. I think that's at least what we have on the table now.
That's already a lot.
Yeah.
There's already a lot of hours of gameplay. Which one is your favorite Wayfinder right now?
Nis, my girl Nis, Team Nis, 100%.
What?
But I'm very much so. Nis is the shadow dancer. So she is in the anime. So there was Venomous that we were introducing.
The other
who's
one.
The spy there, the one with the Eldrin braids and actually blows up the mysterious object, I'll say for now, and nukes the entire town. That's Nis, and she's awesome. So she's very much like, I love Dark Souls. I'm a glutton for punishment. So she is very much more like, okay, utilize your stamina, utilize the perfect timing for parrying and get the bonuses for that, dodging perfectly, getting the bonuses for that. Just really high mobility, low health, glass cannon is kind of like the play style that suits her. But again, you could completely make her like a tank support character. If you wanted to, slot out her echoes and her weapons and her abilities in a certain way, like that's totally an option as well. But I'm very much a glass cannon DPS. Like I'll die in one hit, but boy, if I stay alive, I'm gonna do a bunch of damage. So I love this, and her styles and her cosmetics are super freaking cool too. So Team Nis for now. We'll see, but we have a lot of other characters coming down the pipes that I'm excited for. I think we have like at least 9, 13, somewhere like that. We've got a lot planned out, so I'm excited to show them.
Careful when you say a number.
I know.
You gotta
I know,
be
right?
careful with that. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it there. We've been talking about Wayfinder for about 2 hours. Is there any?
The main question that still haven't been answered is,
I forgot to cover or was not knowledgeable enough to cover.
well, what exactly is the power
everybody,
distance?
Ironbreakers, like, follow, subscribe for more content from your favorite YouTube creator.
You allow it,
obviously,
like
come
people in
on,
the
shill,
squad
shill,
chat.
shill. But no, it's. I just want to say thank you. It's so cool to see how much clout is being generated from this game. We're really hopeful that it is living up to everybody's expectations. But again, set that expectation. This is early access.
Yeah.
It's going to be early access. We did.
Let me
betas
down
as
one from the
betas,
last
as just
time we
like a
played.
marketing beta to get early access or whatever it was. Like we want this game to be built with the community.
Obviously,
I
if
hope
it
you
wasn't
realize
a
how
given.
invested I am in just like wanting new content creators, big content creators, just people in the community. I live in the
Hopefully it
Discord,
can keep strong.
24/7. Just like feel free to hit me up and hit a message. My Discord is continually, the red number is growing exponentially, but I do try to get back to everybody as best as I can. And we're listening. The feature upvote is probably a huge part we didn't talk about, where once the game is live, everybody's going to get access to basically a forum account where people can put in their feedback like, hey, this system sucks, or this system would be really awesome, or whatever it is. And you'll be able to have a chance as a player to go into that and like, yes, I agree, we need this in the game. And you just click an updo. And as those filter up in the back end, like that's how we're going to prioritize making new features in the game. So like we say we're going to be working along the side of the community, but we're actually investing in that as well. So like I got hired before we even had a community. So I mean, if that's really doesn't put proof in the pudding, like we're putting money into a position like a community manager before we're even an NDA. closed beta. So like we want to be listening, we want to be adjusting the game. Like it's going to be super exciting for that. But like there's a lot on the horizon that we're hoping to get to, and go wishlist. I think we're top. I want to break into top 20. Before we,
I wonder what they have right
we're
now.
Close. We're so close.
Get
So,
on
wishlist
Steam.
and,
Get on
yeah.
Steam and wishlist Wayfinder, guys. I'm
I'd be
very
curious to know
excited
what they
check
will
it
be
out
by
'cause I didn't
now.
get to play any
So
of
they
the
were 2
betas so
weeks
far,
ago.
So I'll be
Any of the
jumping
videos
in
that came out
completely
yesterday.
blind and checking it out. But
Especially
I'm
now
excited to
since
check
it's almost
it out.
3 in the
I'm
morning.
looking forward to trying something new out. Particularly, like I said, one of the most exciting things for me is the fact that your battle passes don't expire, which is the biggest complaint that I have about battle passes everywhere. So we'll see if it's fun. And if it's fun, I'm probably gonna stick with it and play it for a good long while. So yeah, hopefully it'll be fun.
Fingers crossed. Proof will be in the pudding. I can spout words as much as I can, but I know the internet is cynical, and it's going to come out
Gameplay is
to
going to
what
be
it is. And,
is going to be what
Yep.
matters.
Once
But yeah.
again, you can only do so much with wolves.
and also, I mean, that's a good point to mention. It is like, don't feel pressure to like, okay, I want to believe in this game. I have to buy the most expensive pack. Like, you have the full 6 months to upgrade to whatever tier you want. So like, if you just want to really just put your toe in the water, throw down $20, get the base level
And here's
access.
an
and you can
important
upgrade
thing.
at any point.
Here's
so.
an important thing that I noticed today when I was in your website. You guys aren't doing the traditional thing where all the companies, for some strange reason, they seem to have this very strange belief that $20 is the same as 20 euros, which it's not.
Nope.
I went to the website today and I was fully expecting to just see like that's going to be 20 euro. It's like, oh no, it's 17 euro. What? So you guys actually
there's
take into account regional
pricing.
pricing? I was surprised. I did not expect that.
Yeah.
So good on you.
Yeah, no, I think that comes from some of the expertise from DE. I think they've thought about these things and they've flushed out a lot of those like back end and account and like transaction systems. But yeah, no, there is regional pricing, and again, you can, like, if you level up your battle pass because like you play the game at base level, you think it's really cool, you want to stick around for the long term, like then you can upgrade literally up until the day before we go free to play early next year. So we want it to be fair. We want people we want to earn your business and your enjoyment of the game based off of what you see.
There's a whole 6 months worth of playing before you decide whether or not you want to spend a significant chunk of money to support the game. So I think that's cool. But yeah, that's going to be it for this episode of the Cons Cast. If you guys enjoyed it, hit the like button, subscribe, bell notification icon, all that jazz. Do remember wishlist.
Set the line again, chat.
Interested, and yeah, thank you once again. For
That all
making
cat
time,
play, by the way.
Sir Snarf, and we'll see you guys again in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe. Peace out.
And there we go, chat. Also, here you go. Like, well, it's the link. No, it is. Shout. Here you go, chat. Yeah, I gotta say, like, a lot came out of the interview. I doubt you can kind of see because of how this is. But we got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15, 16. Yeah, like 16, 17, like stuff that we didn't know before. So I will probably have a video coming up since it's gonna go up on YouTube. If anyone still awake, kill it. It's literally almost 3 in the morning. I think chat fell asleep on me. But nonetheless, that will be going up on YouTube. Probably be live in a few hours. And then I'm probably gonna do like a cut up version of going over all the stuff that went down because that was a lot. That was a good interview. Good job, Alec. Good job. By the podcast host, dude. 4-time Xeno content, and yeah, they did a great job on that. And honestly, a lot of stuff here that any have someone who have took part in previous betas and other things, I didn't know. So that is like fantastic. Like I said, I wish it would press a little harder on, of course, the heroic stuff, but maybe that a little too inside baseball. I don't know. But it would have been nice. But right now, that is still my only thing that I'm iffy about, and I want more information about now that we actually know he is power and not just this and moveset. But overall, if you're watching it on YouTube after the fact in that video, make sure to like, favorite, and subscribe. Hit all the bells. I will have a link in the description for you guys to check this out. Also, don't forget to check out the rest of my Wayfinder content. We're going to have so much coming. Because let's say today going to be a big day in the outside of the stream, which we will be doing. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any Wayfinder stuff. I'm in the middle of a court doing a series breaking down all the classes and how they operate and mechanics and story. And let's just say Luna might join me for some of them. And you know you want to give Luna all the love. So make sure you go watch them videos. And yeah, like, favorite, and subscribe, and see you in the comments. And of course, all that jazz since he took offline at the beginning and the end. So, that a thing.